Chapter 2380. That is, he. The crowd of cultivators looked at Lin Tian, and their expressions changed drastically. At this moment, the inverse Tao law actually intertwined around Lin Tian's body. Even Mu Fengqing's expression changed slightly. He controlled the inverse Tao law, and he was very familiar with it. But before this, when he fought with Lin Tian, he didn't sense the aura of the inverse Tao law from Lin Tian. This meant that Lin Tian didn't know the fifth dimension law. But now, Lin Tian had used this kind of power at this moment. There was only one reason, and that was that Lin Tian had controlled the inverse Tao law during the fight with him. This made him tremble slightly. Just because of the short fight with him and seeing him use the inverse Tao law, Lin Tian was able to control this kind of power. Looking at Lin Tian, he was stunned for a moment. What kind of person was this? Was this something a human could do? At the same time, the expressions of the 32 all-creation realm experts of the Xiang family changed. At this moment, Lin Tian actually emitted the aura of both the inverse Tao law and the all-beginning Tao law at the same time. He controlled two types of the fifth dimension law. That was the fifth dimension law. A person controlling two types of the fifth dimension law at the same time. In the history of the fifth dimension, no one had ever done it. No matter how monstrous, powerful, or heaven-defying the existence of the fifth dimension, no one had ever done it. But now, Lin Tian had done it before their eyes. He controlled both the inverse Tao law and the all-beginning Tao law at the same time. Retreat! The 32 all-creations powerhouses were all horrified. When one of them spoke, the dozens of others immediately retreated at lightning speed. Since their sure-kill attack had failed, they didn't think they had any hope of taking down Lin Tian. After all, they had all secretly watched the battle between Lin Tian and Mu Fengqing. It was too frightening. With their early all-creations cultivation, even if there were 32 of them, they definitely wouldn't be able to stop Lin Tian. They had already decided to retreat immediately after their sure-kill attack had failed. However, at this moment, after seeing Lin Tian use the inverse law after sacrificing the 10,000 beginnings, these people were even more terrified. They didn't dare to confront Lin Tian directly. At this moment, they all retreated at extreme speed. In the blink of an eye, they had retreated far away. Lin Tian's eyes were cold. With a wave of his hand, waves of divine light of all beginnings surged out and transformed into a huge cage of all beginnings, trapping all 32 early-stage all-creation experts of the Xiang family within the cage of all creation. He strode forward, directly entering the cage of all creation. He appeared in front of one of the all-creation experts and slapped out the inverse law interwove in his hand, containing the power of destruction. It was truly born for destruction, and it landed on the person. Splat! Blood splattered everywhere. The all-creation expert didn't even have time to scream before his body and soul were destroyed. He was like a god walking through the cage of all beginnings. The inverse law interwove, condensing into an inverse divine sword in his hand. Combined with the reincarnation sword technique, he slashed out with the sword, bringing with him 9 sharp sword auras. He had been analyzing and comprehending the inverse law during his battle with Mu Fengqing for over an hour. This was because the inverse law that Mu Fengqing controlled was far purer than the law of all beginnings that Lu Aoxin controlled, so it was much easier for him to comprehend it. In just an hour, he had used the inverse law that Mu Fengqing had used to control this power. Clang! The sound of the sword was ear-piercing. 9 sword auras slashed through the air, interwove with the pure destructive power of the inverse law and the sharp sword auras of the reincarnation sword technique. In the blink of an eye, they pierced through the chests of 9 all-creation experts. 9 eye-catching mists of blood exploded, causing the 9 people's bodies to instantly shatter. Then, their souls were completely destroyed by the inverse law in the blink of an eye. In the cage of all creation, only 22 of the 32 all-creation experts were left in the blink of an eye. At this moment, the shock in their eyes became even more intense, and they all trembled. In just an instant, 10 of their hundreds of thousands of all-creation experts had been killed. Go! Our charge out! Someone shouted loudly, his body trembling. He was clearly only at the middle stage of the Tao transformation realm, but he was able to so easily kill early-stage all-creation experts like them. His battle prowess was far too terrifying. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. Of the 22 people, 3 of them were the fastest. In the blink of an eye, they rushed to the edge of the cage of all creation and bombarded it with divine light. With a hiss, the divine light that landed on the cage of all creation instantly disappeared. Then, the divine light of all creation bounced back and enveloped the 3 of them. Ah! Miserable screams immediately rang out as they were enveloped by the divine light of all creation. The 3 of them struggled fiercely, using all sorts of divine abilities and techniques in an attempt to break free from the divine light of all creation. However, it was completely useless. The law of all creation turned everything into nothingness, returning everything to zero. Without the support of an absolute cultivation base, without the power of a law of the same level, there was no way to block this power of all creation. Everything was futile. In the blink of an eye, 7 breaths passed. The screams of the 3 people disappeared, and their bodies and souls were completely turned into nothingness. Their bodies and souls had been destroyed. In an instant, only 19 of the 32 all-creation experts were left. Their faces became incomparably pale. We are from the Xiong clan. You, don't go too far. The Xiong clan won't let you off. Someone looked at Lin Tian, his face pale as he threatened him with a trembling voice. Lin Tian's eyes were ice-cold. He raised his hand and slashed out with his sword. The Tao-defying law collapsed everything, and it landed on the person who had spoken. With a PU, the person who had threatened Lin Tian immediately shattered. Under the Tao-defying law, he was completely annihilated. His steps were calm as he stepped into the cage of all creation. The Tao-defying divine sword in his hand slashed out once more. At the same time, the cage of all creation trembled, and dense amounts of divine light of all creation surged out from within. No! Stop! Stop! Ah! The eyes of the hundreds of all creation experts were filled with terror. Miserable screams rang out continuously, and mists of blood spurted out continuously. In the blink of an eye, dozens of breaths passed. The miserable screams in this space disappeared, and the hundreds of thousands of all creation experts had been killed. In this space, not far away, a group of cultivators could not help but tremble. Cold sweat broke out on their foreheads. 32 all creation experts had been killed in such a short period of time. From the looks of it, it was easier than cutting grass. At this moment, looking at Lin Tian, the group of cultivators felt their souls turn cold. It was as if they would be frozen in the next moment. Was this really someone from the four-dimensional world? Was this really a human? They even felt that Lin Tian had not even used his full strength. If he really did, he would probably be able to kill even a peak all-creation expert. Even someone as strong as Mu Fengqing, who had almost completely mastered the Tao-defying law, had a fierce gleam in his eyes. Outside Lin Tian's body, the divine light of all creation disappeared, and the Tao-defying law also disappeared. He turned around and looked at Mu Fengqing. How about it, Mu Fengqing? Become my guardian warrior? Become my companion. He looked at Mu Fengqing and issued an invitation. This man was worthy of his invitation. Mu Fengqing was slightly stunned. He shook his head and said, "Impossible." He paused and opened his mouth. "Who are you?" Lin Tian was too strong, far beyond his imagination. He wanted to know who Lin Tian was. Based on his instincts, he definitely did not believe that Lin Tian was simply from the four-dimensional world. Lin Tian looked at him. "Become my guardian warrior and my companion, and I'll tell you everything." Mu Fengqing shook his head. "Impossible." He looked at Lin Tian and gave him a deep look. Then, he turned and left. "I'll come find you again." He could feel how powerful Lin Tian was now. He was no match for him now. It would be futile to fight him again. Lin Tian looked at Mu Fengqing's back. He knew that Mu Fengqing wanted to find him again to become stronger, so that he could kill him. However, he did not mind at all. In fact, there was even a hint of a smile on his face. "I'll wait for you." He looked on as Mu Fengqing left until he disappeared from his field of vision. In this place, a group of cultivators looked at him. Their eyes were filled with shock as they discussed in low voices. Lin Tian naturally sensed the gazes of these cultivators and could hear their discussions. However, he did not mind at all. He walked toward the stone chambers in this space and put away all the immortal treasures in his field of vision. In this space, the cultivators had not left yet. At this moment, they looked on as Lin Tian put away all the immortal treasures. No one dared to fight for them. Lin Tian's battle prowess was clear for all to see. Who dared to fight for him now? Lin Tian still did not care about these people. He walked past the stone chambers and quickly put away all the immortal treasures. These immortal treasures were very large when put together. The value they contained was also very shocking. There were many Baodan that could allow a mystic heaven cultivator to break through to the Dao conversion realm in a very short time. There were also Dao conversion and all-encompassing divine weapons. There were also some other extraordinary natural treasures that could temper the body, shape the Dao, and strengthen the soul. None of them were ordinary. He nodded to himself as he put away these immortal treasures. These things were useless to him now. However, they were very useful to Wu Yi and the others, as well as to the immortal court. After a pause, he did not stop here. He walked toward the center of the sacred mountain and gradually disappeared in front of him. This person, he's too terrifying, too frightening. How could there be such a terrifying person in the four-dimensional world? Compared to him, the divine sons and saintesses of those top orthodoxies are even worse than dust. The group of cultivators looked at Lin Tian's disappearing figure and could not help but gasp. After leaving the space from before, Lin Tian walked along a cave and walked steadily. Along the way, the cave became more and more spacious. It was difficult to see other cultivators. Soon, more than 2 hours had passed, and a space of about 10,000 cubic meters appeared in front of him. There was a circular stone platform in the center, surrounded by seawater. There was not the slightest ripple, and an old man was sitting cross-legged on it. The old man's clothes were very ancient. His eyes were closed, and his expression was very peaceful. There was no sign of life. Clearly, this was a corpse. The Seven Treasures Patriarch? Chapter 2381. Lin Tian had never seen the Seven Treasures Ancestor Lord before. However, this old man's corpse was sitting cross-legged at the center of the sacred mountain, and he did not look like an ordinary person. Therefore, he instinctively judged that the other party should be the Seven Treasures Ancestor Lord. There were no other cultivators around. At this time, he was the only one who had come to this place. He paused for a moment, then walked forward. Not long after, he arrived in front of the old man's corpse and looked at it closely. How peaceful, he muttered to himself. He could feel that this old man was truly dead. There was an obvious aura of death surrounding him. However, this aura of death did not give off a sinister feeling. Instead, it gave off a peaceful aura. From this point, he was slightly moved. The old man's cultivation level when he was alive was definitely far beyond that of an ordinary fifth-dimension ancestor lord. Looking at this old man, he could not help but walk a little closer. Buzz! Suddenly, a ring of light rolled out from the old man's corpse, which was surrounded by the aura of death. It turned into runes that filled the sky. The densely packed runes seemed to be the prototype of a divine technique and treasure technique. Lin Tian was immediately moved. The Seven Stars Bible? His eyes narrowed slightly. The densely packed rune imprints jumped like fairies. In the next moment, they all rushed toward him and entered his sea of consciousness. At this moment, his sea of consciousness brightened. Runes jumped around, and there was even a strand of origin consciousness among them. It was as if a large bell had suddenly rung in his sea of consciousness. Strange scenes appeared one after another. After that, all the runes and seals, as well as the strange images that appeared, completely merged into his sea of consciousness. His sea of consciousness instantly quieted down, and the talisman markings and the numerous strange scenes from before vanished in unison. At the same time, cracks appeared on the old man's corpse on the stone platform. Then, it turned into faint light and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Lin Tian stood in place with a strange light in his eyes. The Seven Treasures Ancestor Lord, the Seven Stars Bible, the Seven Stars Demon, subduing formation. He muttered to himself. Just now, he had obtained the complete Seven Stars Bible from the endless runes that had gushed out from the old man's corpse. It contained many terrifying great techniques, and all of them were fifth-dimensional holy techniques with boundless profoundness. This old man was the Seven Treasures Ancestor. At the same time, as the runic Tao seals surged into his sea of consciousness, many scenes appeared in his sea of consciousness. Through these scenes, he learned many things. The old man here was the Seven Treasures Patriarch. Back then, he had discovered an extremely terrifying great beast in this region of the sea. Then he had used the five-dimensional weapons of the seven sects to lay down the Seven Stars Devil, subduing formation, and sealed it. The reason he had to seal it was because the great beast was completely born from the endless filth between heaven and earth. It only had pure killing intent, and it had almost reached the Hodian realm, which was above the fifth-dimensional realm. Once it left this region of the sea, it would definitely cause countless creatures to suffer and die. In order to prevent this from happening, he had to seal it. Just sealing it was already the limit of the Seven Treasures Patriarch. Moreover, he had suffered great injuries during the sealing process. After that, although he had searched for many immortal materials to refine into medicine to heal his injured body, it was to no avail. His injuries continued to worsen, and his life was rapidly draining away. In the end, he had no choice but to give up. After that, the Seven Treasures Ancestor wanted to take advantage of the limited time to refine a supreme treasure weapon in this sacred mountain in order to kill the sealed great evil. Unfortunately, it was to no avail, and he couldn't refine it at all. In the end, regardless of whether it was refining a Baodan to heal his injured body or refining a weapon that could completely kill the great beast, they all ended in failure. The Seven Treasures Patriarch no longer did anything and silently walked to the end of his life in the center of the holy mountain. Before his death, in order to prevent his ancient scriptures from being lost, the Seven Treasures Patriarch set up an ancient technique in his body. In his later life, as long as there was a life form close to his body, the ancient technique would automatically activate and pass on the Seven Stars Bible. He would also tell the matter of the great beast that was being suppressed in this region of the sea in some simple scenes in the Seven Stars Bible. The reason for this was that the Seven Stars Patriarch's injuries had already reached a terrifying level. He was already powerless to leave this region of the sea and find a suitable successor to inherit his legacy. So that's how it is? Previously, he was puzzled as to why the Seven Stars Halberd would be stuck in such a place. It was very abnormal. Now he finally understood. The Seven Stars Halberd and the other 6 fifth-dimensional weapons had been placed in 7 different locations by the Seven Treasures Patriarch, forming a vast 7 stars devil subduing formation to seal a peerless great beast in this region of the sea. Furthermore, in order to prevent future generations from destroying the 7 stars devil subduing formation, the Seven Treasures Patriarch had set up an astonishing protective barrier around each of the weapons. Only those who had reached the peak of the fifth-dimensional realm could break through it. Of course, he could also break through it now and take away the weapons because he had obtained the inheritance of the Seven Treasures Patriarch. The key to unsealing the 7 stars devil subduing formation was in the Seven Stars Bible, and one only needed to be at the Tao conversion realm to use it. However, even though he had obtained the key to breaking the 7 stars devil subduing formation and could take away the fifth-dimensional treasure weapons of the 7 sects, he would naturally not do so. That was because once the formation was broken, the great evil beast would be born, and it would definitely cause countless lives to suffer. Is it under here? He looked at the bottom of the sacred mountain, and a faint light intertwined in his eyes. The great beast was sealed under the sacred mountain. He stood there and looked at the bottom of the sacred mountain. In the blink of an eye, 10 breaths had passed. After 10 breaths, He shifted his gaze and looked at the stone platform where the Seven Treasures Patriarch had been sitting cross-legged. He bowed. It was not because he had obtained the inheritance of the Seven Treasures Patriarch, but because of what the Seven Treasures Patriarch had done in the past. He admitted that he could not sacrifice himself for a stranger. He would only risk his life for his family and friends, and he would not hesitate to die. However, although he could not sacrifice himself for a stranger, he admired those who could do such a thing from the bottom of his heart. Those who could do such a thing were true sages and worthy of everyone's respect. He stood there and paused for a few breaths. Then he turned around and walked out of the sacred mountain. There was no need to stay here any longer. He followed the path he came from and walked out. His speed was not fast, but it was not slow either. He saw many cultivators along the way, but he did not pay them any attention. Soon, he left the sacred mountain, and not long after, he stepped out of the sea. At the edge of the sea, he turned around and looked at the center of the sea. He paused for a moment, and a holy light intertwined. He raised his hand and formed a spiritual imprint. The imprint was about the great beast that the Seven Treasures Patriarch had sealed with the fifth-dimensional weapons of the seven sections. The reason for this was because the fifth-dimensional weapons of the seven sects within the sacred mountain had already been exposed. Ordinary people might not be able to take them away, but those top-notch orthodoxies all had fifth-dimensional realm experts. Even if they were only at the initial stage of the fifth-dimensional realm and were unable to break through the barrier surrounding the fifth-dimensional weapons and take them away, what if those top-notch orthodoxies had some special methods that could help them break through the barrier and take away all of the fifth-dimensional weapons? At that time, the great ferocious beast sealed under the sacred mountain would come out in the blink of an eye. Given the might of that great ferocious beast, no one in the fifth dimension would be able to resist it. At that time, countless lives would be lost. The reason he had created this mental imprint and transmitted the severity of this matter to all the cultivators in this world was to let all the cultivators in this world know that the fifth-dimensional treasured weapons of the seven sects absolutely could not be used rashly. Otherwise, there would be no end to the disaster. He formed several tens of thousands of spiritual imprints. Some of them were sent to the center of the sea, while others were sent to other places in the fifth dimension. He believed that it would not be long before all the cultivators knew about this. They would understand the importance of the seven sects' treasured weapons in the sacred mountain and would not casually touch them. After finishing this matter, he left the sea for real. Not long after, he stepped into a large mountain and walked slowly. The spiritual energy of the world automatically flowed into his body and was refined by him. Half a month passed by in the blink of an eye. Half a month later, all the cultivators who had gone to the ancestral Lord Sea domain had left. The spiritual imprints he formed had also spread to every corner of the fifth dimension, causing all the cultivators in the fifth dimension to be shocked. There is actually such a terrifying beast sealed under the sea. It's infinitely close to the Hodian realm. The Hodian realm is the realm after the fifth dimension. It seems that it can only be found in the sixth dimension. If that beast is infinitely close to the Hodian realm, and that beast breaks out of the seal, then wouldn't a great disaster befall our fifth dimension? Is this for real? Who formed this spiritual imprint? It's not an exaggeration, right? It doesn't feel like it. No matter how I look at it, there is no benefit to the person who formed this spiritual imprint. Indeed, it's infinitely close to the Hodian realm, and it only has killing intent. In the cultivation world of the fifth dimension, all the cultivators were shocked by this matter. No matter what, they didn't expect such a terrifying great beast to be sealed within the ancestral Lord Sea domain. It was simply the source of calamity. Even the top orthodoxies in the fifth dimension couldn't help but be moved when they heard this. At the same time, some of the cultivators who had returned from the ancestral Lord Sea domain spoke of other matters. Speaking of the ancestral Lord Sea domain, there is another matter that is even more terrifying. A cultivator from the fourth dimension actually controlled two types of fifth dimension law, the all-beginning law and the inverse law, at the same time. A person who had been to the sacred mountain and saw Lin Tian's attack said. When this voice was heard, The fifth dimension's cultivation world was immediately shaken. It was even more shocking than when they heard that there was a terrifying beast sealed under the ancestral Lord Sea domain. All the cultivators were greatly shocked. A person controlling two types of fifth dimension law at the same time? That's impossible. There has never been such a person since ancient times. Moreover, it's a lowly creature from the fourth dimension? Someone questioned. This matter was simply too inconceivable. It's not a lie. It's real. I saw it with my own eyes. Someone quickly responded and projected a mental image. It was the image of Lin Tian using the law of all beginnings and the inverse law to kill the 32 all creations realm experts from the Xiang family. This mental image quickly spread far and wide, causing the entire fifth dimension's cultivation world to be in an uproar. Countless cultivators were shocked. Following that, even more voices were heard. I saw him use the law of all beginnings with my own eyes. He only fought against Lu Aoxian from the all-beginning Divine Palace. He watched Lu Aoxian use the law of all beginnings and then controlled this kind of power. I saw his battle with the illusion sorcerer divine Sex Mu Fengqing. Then his inverse Dao law seemed to have been mastered after he watched Mu Fengqing use the inverse Dao law for more than an hour during his battle with him. As soon as these voices were heard, the fifth dimension's cultivation world became even more chaotic. Countless cultivators could not help but tremble. A cultivator from the fourth dimension had mastered two types of fifth dimension law at the same time. Moreover, he had mastered both types of fifth dimension law in a short period of time after watching others use them. How terrifying was this? Was this something that a human could do? My God, some cultivators muttered to themselves, almost scared out of their wits by this matter. For a moment, countless cultivators in the fifth dimension's cultivation world were shocked. Countless great sects were shocked. They were all stunned by Lin Tian. During this process, the name Mu Fengqing also spread throughout the fifth dimension's cultivation world along with Lin Tian's name, causing all the cultivators in this world to feel their hearts palpitate. No one would have thought that an unknown young man from the illusion sorcery divine sect would actually control the legendary inverse law. Moreover, he had already mastered it so well that even Lu Aoxian, who had mastered the law of all beginnings, could not compare to him. Lin Tian was alone in the immortal mountains and ancient forests. Like a leisurely traveler, he turned a deaf ear to what was happening in the outside world. During this process, he consolidated the law of all beginnings and the inverse law, completely mastering them in an extremely short period of time. Then, he used more time to comprehend the Tao of reincarnation. However, after half a month of using more time to comprehend the Tao of reincarnation, the effects of the Tao of reincarnation were minimal. It really proves that there is no harm without comparison, he muttered to himself. Chapter 2382. Reincarnation. Compared to the all beginnings and inverse Tao, the incomplete reincarnation did not have any advantages. However, it was the most unique power and was extremely difficult to comprehend. It was like an ordinary person trying to ascend to the 9 heavens. Speaking of which, I gained quite a lot from reincarnation when I was in seclusion previously. But now, I have gained very little. He muttered to himself and was slightly puzzled. Has my current cultivation reached a bottleneck where I can comprehend reincarnation easily? As he thought about it, he felt that it made sense. Perhaps his previous comprehension had already reached the limit of simple comprehension based on the unsealing of 4 layers of his soul root. If he continued to comprehend reincarnation with his current cultivation level, it would not be as easy as before. He paused and shook his head. He followed the small path on the celestial mountain and took simple steps. The Saint Spirit Chi in the celestial mountain was rich and flowed into his body. As the reincarnation heart sutra circulated, it quickly fused into his flesh and blood, causing his essence, energy, and spirit to slowly strengthen. His cultivation level also slowly increased. He did not care about this. Instead, he focused all his attention on reincarnation and continued to comprehend reincarnation. With his current cultivation level, it was not as easy to comprehend reincarnation as before. However, he was still able to gain something. It was just that he needed to spend more time than when he first unsealed the 4 layers of his soul root. Compared to the state of his soul root when it was sealed in the 4-dimensional world, it was still much stronger. There was a qualitative difference, a world of difference. Time flowed like sand between his fingers. Day after day passed. His steps were steady as he walked past one celestial mountain after another. In the blink of an eye, another half a month passed. Another half a month passed. On this day, a majestic force suddenly intertwined in his body. He cultivated while comprehending reincarnation. His cultivation level had reached the peak of the Tao conversion realm. His essence, energy, spirit, and other aspects had a shocking increase. I am just a small step away from the manifestation realm. Comprehending reincarnation should be twice the result with half the effort. Should I cultivate and break through first? He muttered to himself. With his current cultivation level, although he could still gain something from comprehending reincarnation, he would need to spend a lot of time. At this time, his cultivation base had already reached the peak of Tao conversion. He thought that he might as well raise his cultivation base to the all creations level first before continuing to comprehend reincarnation. That should be much easier than at this stage. After thinking about it for a moment, he immediately decided to do so. Not long after, he found a divine mountain with dense Holy Spirit chi and dug out a cave. He set up layers of protective formations around it and then began to cultivate seriously. He activated the Reincarnation Heart Sutra. Immediately, endless holy spiritual chi and rule fragments swept toward him as if they had a mind of their own. They formed a holy spiritual vortex beside him. It was a shocking scene. Immediately, his essence, chi, and spirit became stronger at an extremely fast rate. His cultivation also increased at an extremely fast rate. Thus, he wholeheartedly immersed himself in cultivation. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. Boom! A month later, on this day, the sky above this majestic divine mountain suddenly turned dark. A huge lightning vortex intertwined with black lightning bolts rampaging within. Every bolt seemed to be able to shatter everything. A destructive aura came down from the sky. This divine mountain trembled uncontrollably, as if it would collapse in the next moment. It was also at this time that Lin Tian opened his eyes. There was a flash of light in his eyes as he stood up. With his unsealed 4-level soul root, he wholeheartedly immersed himself in cultivation. After a month, he had reached the early stage of all creations from the peak of Tao conversion. At this moment, he triggered the all creations heavenly tribulation. Darkness instantly shrouded the entire divine mountain. Come, he looked at the sky and said calmly. Within this divine mountain, with him as the center, he could clearly sense that there were no living creatures within a radius of 10,000 feet. Thus, he did not need to leave to find a suitable place to undergo the tribulation. He directly chose to undergo the tribulation here. Within the lightning, there seemed to be a supreme ruler. As if it felt that he was provoking it, the first round of the main lightning punishment immediately came down. Everywhere it passed, the void collapsed and the ground cracked. Lin Tian stood quietly in place. The first round of the main lightning punishment landed on him, but it was forcefully shattered by his powerful physique. However, he was not injured at all. Even the corners of his clothes were not damaged at all. However, a faint light flashed across his eyes. This was because the power of the lightning punishment was much stronger than he had expected. Is it related to my control of the all beginnings in verse? Will the heavenly tribulation become stronger every time I control a new dimension law? He muttered to himself. Boom! The sky exploded, and the second round of the main lightning punishment appeared. It was a black starry sky of lightning, and it mightily pressed down. Lin Tian's expression did not change. He did not care and did not resist. At the same time, he summoned the reincarnation sword from his body and underwent the tribulation with him. He endured the baptism of the fierce lightning punishment, causing the divine sword to continuously transform. Thus, on this day, the lightning punishment struck down in this divine mountain. The destructive aura surged and was extremely terrifying. Boom! 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 The destructive heavenly tribulation shook, and the main lightning punishment struck one after another. It was not until a total of 360 rounds of the main lightning punishment had passed that the lightning vortex in the sky slowly dissipated. The sky regained its clarity, and the destructive aura disappeared in the blink of an eye. The Tao conversion realm, heavenly tribulation, has 180 rounds of the main lightning punishment. Now, there are 360 rounds of the main lightning punishment. It seems that it is indeed related to my control of the all beginnings and the inverse. Lin Tian muttered to himself. Buzz! In the sky, after the lightning vortex dissipated, a seven-colored auspicious cloud condensed. The seven-colored light immediately enveloped him and surrounded him. This was a gift from the heavenly tribulation. The seven-colored light contained the purest power of heaven and earth. He naturally knew that. He immediately circulated the Reincarnation Heart Sutra and took the initiative to refine the seven-colored light to stabilize his current all creations realm cultivation. At the same time, he waved his hand and reformed the reincarnation sword that had been shattered by the all creations heavenly tribulation. There were more lightning seals on the sword, and the divine patterns on the sword became brighter. The sword aura it emitted was clearly many times stronger. As his cultivation increased to the all creations realm, it turned into an all creations treasure weapon. The sharp sword aura seemed to be able to easily cut through everything. He was naturally very satisfied with this sword. This was a divine sword that his master, the human king, had forged for him. It had also been fused with a sacred item like the chaotic heavenly crystal. Moreover, the power of faith was constantly pouring into the divine sword, constantly cleansing it. Now, although it was only an all creations treasure weapon, its overall power was definitely many times stronger than an ordinary pure sun treasure weapon. Buzz! The seven-colored light constantly poured into his body and was refined by him. His cultivation quickly stabilized, and his essence, chi, and spirit surged. In the blink of an eye, 15 minutes had passed. The seven-colored auspicious clouds in the sky dispersed, and no more seven-colored light fell from the sky. His expression was calm as he put the reincarnation sword into his body. Then, he left the land that had become extremely scorched black. After that, he continued to walk among the celestial mountains. After his cultivation reached the all creations realm, he began to devote himself to the path of reincarnation. He seriously comprehended and deduced the path of reincarnation. Then, as he expected, after his cultivation reached the all creations realm, coupled with the unsealing of the 4 layers of soul roots, he continued to comprehend the path of reincarnation. In the blink of an eye, he gained a lot. Compared to before, it was much easier. This made him nod to himself. Then he seriously comprehended and deduced the path of reincarnation. His gains from the path of reincarnation were getting greater and greater. In the blink of an eye, another month had passed. Another month had passed. With his early all creations cultivation, he seriously comprehended the path of reincarnation. The path of reincarnation that he controlled had undergone a huge qualitative change. Great! A bright light flashed in his eyes, and he could not help but smile. Now, although he was still very far away from the complete path of reincarnation, he had finally taken a step forward. As long as he was improving, it was a good thing. It was also at this time that he realized that he had unknowingly walked near a very wide road. There were many cultivators coming and going on the road. He paused, turned his back to the road, and walked towards a celestial mountain in the distance. He was prepared to continue deducing the path of reincarnation. However, in the next moment his body froze, and his footsteps towards the celestial mountain in the distance came to a stop. A voice came from the road. A cultivator lamented and entered his ears. That Mu Fengqing is quite pitiful. On the road, a few cultivators walked together. They seemed to be companions. As they walked into the distance, they could not help but shake their heads. He was able to control the inverse law to infinitely close to mastery at such a young age. Other than that incomprehensible freak from the 4th dimension, throughout the history of cultivation, there is really no one who can compare to him. Who would have thought? that he would be the one to help his disciple. That illusionary sorcerer sect master is truly ruthless. Although Mu Fengqing is only a bastard son, he is still his own flesh and blood. He actually used such a cruel secret technique to seize the inverse laws. One of them said, according to some of the disciples of the illusion sorcerer sect who went out, Mu Fengqing is almost half crippled and could die at any time. After seizing Mu Fengqing's inverse law, the sect master of the illusion sorcerer sect used it to reach the fifth dimensional realm. 3 days ago, he announced to the world that he has become the sixth fifth-dimensional ancestor monarch in this generation, excluding the ancestors of the 5 top-grade orthodoxies. Moreover, he is a fifth-dimensional ancestor monarch who can control the inverse law. After that, it seems that many great powers will go to the illusion sorcerer sect to congratulate him. He used such a ruthless method to seize the power of his own blood to reach the fifth dimensional realm. How could he have the face to announce it to the world? How could he make so many great powers go to congratulate him? This is the world of cultivation. Strength is capital. A fifth dimensional ancestor monarch who can control the inverse law is a super big shot. He has the ability to change the structure of the world of cultivation. No matter how unsightly his method of reaching the fifth dimensional realm is, he will still be valued by the world. As long as he doesn't bring disaster to the world, who would care too much about such things? The cultivators discussed as they walked. Lin Tian was very far away from the cultivators. Even though the cultivators had suppressed their voices, he still heard them. Chapter 2383. What the F*** CK? The cultivators were furious when their companions were suddenly grabbed. However, in the next moment, when they saw Lin Tian's appearance clearly, their expressions changed greatly, and they stopped talking. The cultivators who were grabbed by Lin Tian and brought close to him could not help but tremble when they saw Lin Tian's cold gaze. Not long ago, Lin Tian's name had already spread throughout the entire 5 maintenance world. He was a person with 2 types of fifth-dimensional laws, and with his Dao transformation cultivation, he could kill Wanxiang realm experts as easily as cutting grass. This had already shaken the entire 5 maintenance world, and there weren't many people who didn't know about it. Now that they saw Lin Tian, fear rose in these people's hearts. At the same time, there were a group of other cultivators moving about on the path as well. They naturally recognized Lin Tian at this moment, and all of them could not help but stop as shock appeared on their faces. Speak! Lin Tian looked at the cultivator, who was grabbed by him. The coldness in his eyes was very strong. The cultivator was dressed in black clothes. When he met Lin Tian's gaze, his heart trembled, and he did not dare to hesitate. We heard it from some disciples of the illusion sorcerer sect. The news of Mu Fengqing controlling the inverse law spread in the cultivation world. After he returned to the illusion sorcerer sect, he was imprisoned by the sect master not long after. Using a special secret technique, he took away Mu Fengqing's inverse law and merged it into his own body. Then, he used that law to reach the fifth-dimensional realm and pass the fifth-dimensional heavenly tribulation. After that, Mu Fengqing was... This person spoke very quickly. In the blink of an eye, he had explained in detail how Mu Fengqing's inverse law had been taken away. The coldness in Lin Tian's eyes became even stronger. In fact, when he was outside the main road, he had heard what these cultivators were talking about. The reason he asked was because he did not want to believe it and wanted to confirm it himself. Now that he had confirmed what had happened to Mu Fengqing, his chest could not help but rise and fall violently. Before this, although he had not met the sect master of the illusion sorcerer sect, he could vaguely guess that the sect master did not care about Mu Fengqing at all, and did not treat Mu Fengqing as his own flesh and blood. However, he did not expect that the sect master would do such a ruthless thing and personally take away the power of his own flesh and blood to help himself. After being named Mu Fengqing, he was ordered to serve the first wife's son, Mu Guanqing, for eternity. Over the years, Mu Fengqing had always kept these words in mind. Apart from when he talked back to Mu Guanqing when his mother was being insulted, no matter how much Mu Guanqing humiliated Mu Fengqing did not react at all. He only obeyed his father's order and hoped that one day he would be recognized by his father. But now, he was being treated like this. He let go of the black-robed cultivator in front of him. His eyes were filled with coldness as he stepped into the air and headed west. In the blink of an eye, he was very far away from this place and disappeared from the sight of the cultivators on the main road. At this time, the cultivators on the main road finally felt a bit more relaxed. That was especially true for the black-robed cultivator who was captured by Lin Tian earlier. His clothes were drenched in cold sweat, and he was gasping for breath. The look in Lin Tian's eyes earlier was simply too terrifying. The chilling intent within them was simply too thick. At this time, the cultivators looked in the direction Lin Tian left in and couldn't help but be shocked. That seems to be the direction of the illusion sorcerer sect. Someone shuddered. I heard that he invited Mu Fengqing to be his guardian. Now, could it be? Is he going to cause trouble at the illusion sorcerer sect? No way. No matter how monstrous and abnormal he is, he can't possibly defeat the entire illusion sorcerer sect. After all, the difference in cultivation is too great. The sect master of the illusion sorcerer sect has already stepped into the fifth-dimensional realm. The cultivators couldn't help but be shocked. After leaving the main road, Lin Tian's speed was very fast. In the blink of an eye, he had crossed dozens of immortal mountains. After that, with the speed of his manifestation realm cultivation, a total of 7 days passed in the blink of an eye. 7 days later, on this day, he appeared outside a chain of mountain ranges. As far as the eye could see, every mountain in the chain of mountains was incomparably majestic. The holy spiritual qi was astonishing, and there were many palaces and pavilions standing in the center of the mountain range. Looking from afar, endless holy light intertwined inside, as if it was the divine realm. He had once asked Yu Yao about the sects in the fifth dimension and learned a lot. One of them was the illusion sorcerer sect. Naturally, he knew where it was located. This was where the illusion sorcerer sect was established. Whether it was potential, talent, or strength, Mu Fengqing was impeccable. Most importantly, he liked Mu Fengqing's character very much. He approved of Mu Fengqing from the bottom of his heart and hoped that Mu Fengqing would become his guardian and companion. Now, Mu Fengqing's inverse law had been taken away, and he was almost crippled. He could die at any moment. He couldn't bear to see someone he approved of meet such a sad end, so he couldn't sit by and do nothing. He came here to bring Mu Fengqing away. The illusion sorcerer sect had existed for a long time. At this time, there were many figures gathered outside the sect. A few grand elders, a few ordinary elders, and a group of core disciples of the sect were standing outside the sect. Each of them had a face full of smiles as they welcomed the masters of the major powers who had come to congratulate the sect master for entering the fifth dimension. The Heavenly Treasure Island has come to congratulate you. The Golden Nunnery has come to congratulate you. The Sanyuan Ancient Sect has come to congratulate you. Loud shouts could be heard from time to time outside the illusion sorcerer sect. Many masters of major powers came from afar to congratulate the sect master. The grand elders and elders of the illusion sorcerer divine sect all had smiles on their faces. Now that their sect master had reached the fifth dimension, surpassing their progenitor and becoming the sixth superpower in the fifth dimension, the sect master had attracted the congratulations of numerous superpowers. As members of the illusion sorcerer divine sect, how could they not be happy? Now that their sect master had reached the fifth dimensional realm, the illusion sorcerer divine sect's position in the fifth dimensional realm had undergone a qualitative change. Naturally, the status of these people had also risen. The Thousand Star Treasure sect has come to congratulate you. The Tsang Hong Divine Valley has come to congratulate you. The Fan Luo Immortal Sect has come to you. Suddenly, there was a commotion in front of them. Lin Tian had arrived at the Illusion Sorcerer Sect from outside the mountain range. The disciples of the Illusion Sorcerer Sect who had announced the names of the sects who had come to congratulate him couldn't help but turn pale and retreat. The expressions of the other sect masters who had come to congratulate him also changed. After all, during this period of time, Lin Tian's reputation had spread throughout the entire fifth dimension. The few grand elders and ordinary elders of the illusion sorcerer divine sect looked over and saw Lin Tian, after which a cold look appeared on their faces. Our illusion sorcerer sect has yet to pursue you for killing Guanqing, but you dare to come here of your own accord. Arrest him. The third grand elder of this branch shouted. Immediately, the dozens of elders of this branch who had been waiting outside the sect to receive the sect masters moved at the same time. Their eyes were cold. An extremely powerful holy light surged out of their bodies. A cold aura immediately spread out, and their killing intent was very oppressive. Don't kill him. Suppress him first, then let the sect master deal with him personally. The third grand elder said again. Yes. Among the dozens of ordinary elders who were attacking, one of them replied. These dozens of people knew that Lin Tian was not simple. He controlled the all beginnings and inverse Tao at the same time, and could kill early-stage all-creation powerhouses. However, at this time, they were not afraid because each of them was at the peak of the all-creation realm. At this level, a mere early-stage all-creation powerhouse could not compare to them. The difference was like heaven and earth. Moreover, at this time, there were dozens of them attacking together, so they naturally did not care. Immediately, boundless holy energy sealed off every corner of the area, and various great techniques pressed down on Lin Tian. Lin Tian's eyes were cold as he walked over from afar. The inverse Tao law condensed into an inverse Tao divine sword in his right hand, and he slashed it out. With a clang, dozens of sword lights burst out, and the sword's momentum was swift and fierce. The destructive power of the inverse Tao law instantly annihilated all the holy light that the dozens of people had released. Then, without slowing down, it pressed down and landed in front of the dozens of people in the blink of an eye. Pooh! 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 Blood splattered everywhere, and in the blink of an eye, the dozens of people were sent flying. They all exploded in the distance, and their bodies and souls were destroyed. Blood dyed the void red. Such a scene instantly shocked everyone present. Those were dozens of peak all-creation powerhouses, but they were all killed with one sword. Just one sword. The all-creation realm. The sect master of the Yuanyuan ancient sect, who had come to congratulate Lin Tian, narrowed his eyes and saw Lin Tian's realm. At the same time, the third, fourth, and fifth grand elders of the illusion sorcerer divine sect were also shocked. They could see that Lin Tian's realm was no longer the mid-stage Tao transformation realm that was rumored to be. Damn native! The third grand elder was both shocked and furious. Their sect master had stepped into the fifth dimension, and all the sect masters had come to congratulate him. But now, Lin Tian had come and killed dozens of peak all-creation elders of the illusion sorcerer divine sect in an instant. This not only caused them to lose face, but also caused them to suffer a great loss. Dozens of peak all-creation powerhouses. This was not a small loss to the illusion sorcerer divine sect. With a boom, the third grand elder of the illusion sorcerer divine sect moved, personally grabbing at Lin Tian. The pressure of an early-stage pure young expert immediately spread out. As this person moved, the void in all directions suddenly froze. In the blink of an eye, this person was right in front of Lin Tian. His eyes were cold, and his right hand formed a dragon claw, grabbing at Lin Tian's head. Lin Tian stepped forward without any change in his pace. His eyes were still cold, and the Tao-defying divine sword in his hand erupted with the power of the laws. Together with the reincarnation sword art, he slashed out. Pooh! The destructive power of the Tao-defying laws was shocking, and it caused all Taos to panic. It destroyed the third grand elder's dragon claw and penetrated his chest. Blood splattered everywhere. The third grand elder clutched his chest and couldn't help but retreat, his eyes full of shock. You! Clang! The sound of the sword was ear-piercing. Lin Tian waved his hand, and the Tao-defying divine sword slashed out again. The sword light mixed with the Tao-defying laws shot out and pierced through the third grand elder's forehead. Chapter 2384. Bright red blood splattered in the air and onto the ground. Everyone outside the Illusion Sorcerer Divine sect paled. The third Grand Elder of the Illusion Sorcerer Divine sect, an early-stage pure yang expert, was killed with a single strike. Just one strike. For a moment, everyone here couldn't help but feel a chill run down their spines. An early-stage all-creation expert had killed a pure yang expert with a single strike. What kind of battle prowess was this? What kind of monster was this? This was already hard for people to understand. It must be known that the further one went on the path of cultivation, the greater the difference in battle prowess between major realms. An early-stage all-creation expert could kill an early-stage pure yang expert with a gap of a whole major realm. Even if the inverse law was unparalleled, this was absolutely impossible. But now Lin Tian had done it. With his early-stage all-creation cultivation and the inverse law, he had killed a pure yang expert with a single strike. This caused the souls of all the cultivators here to tremble. Some of the sect leaders who had come to congratulate the Illusion Sorcerer Divine sect narrowed their eyes and stared unblinkingly at Lin Tian. Was this even human? Lin Tian's eyes were cold. Holding the inverse divine sword, he walked step by step into the Illusion Sorcerer Divine sect. The fourth and fifth Grand Elders of the Illusion Sorcerer Divine sect were shocked by Lin Tian's battle prowess, but at this time, they naturally couldn't let Lin Tian act so presumptuously in this place. Immediately they attacked. Unparalleled killing light fell together. Boom! These two were both at the early pure yang stage, slightly weaker than the third Grand Elder. At this time, when they attacked together, they unleashed their full strength. Boundless Tao power, boundless order power, and boundless divine abilities pressed down on Lin Tian in a mighty manner. In the blink of an eye, endless killing light fell in front of Lin Tian, completely sealing off the space around Lin Tian. The terrifying killing power pressed down mercilessly. Clang! There was an ear-piercing howl of the sword as Lin Tian swung his sword. The laws of defiance that he'd mastered were extremely shocking. In just an instant, he destroyed all the Tao energy, ability, and order that the two Supreme Elders had utilized, and a tremendous, imposing aura swept out like ripples on water. In the next moment, with two bangs, the fourth and fifth Grand Elders were sent flying while vomiting blood. Lin Tian raised his hand and directly grabbed the fifth Grand Elder. His divine sense forcibly entered the Grand Elder's mind and found Mu Fengqing's position in the sect in a flash. Lin Tian then threw the Grand Elder a few hundred feet away. Carrying the sword, he continued walking into the Illusion Sorcerer Divine sect. No one dared to block Lin Tian. They Grand Elders' divine abilities, ants. Even the pure Sun Realm Grand Elders were no match for him. So how could they dare to make a move? For a time, no one dared to stop him. Lin Tian carried the Tao-defying God Word and stepped into the sect. Only when Lin Tian stepped into the Illusion Sorcerer Divine sect and disappeared from everyone's sight did the crowd regain their senses. Everyone was shocked. Go inform the sect leader. Quick! The fourth Grand Elder stood up in the distance. His aura was weak, and blood was flowing from his nose and mouth. He shouted at the core disciples. The core disciples immediately responded and charged into the Illusion Sorcerer sect. Inside the Illusion Sorcerer Divine sect, there were palaces and treasure islands floating in the air. The air was filled with the aura of time, and the Saint Spirit Chi in the air was extremely vast. It was unknown how many great veins there were under the ground. Lin Tian stepped into the Illusion Sorcerer Divine sect, and based on the location of Mu Fengqing that he had obtained from the fifth Grand Elder's knowledge sea, he headed towards the northwest of the Illusion Sorcerer Divine sect. The Illusion Sorcerer Divine sect had a long history, and there were many experts within it. With his current battle prowess, he could kill an ordinary early-stage pure yang expert, fight evenly with a mid-stage pure yang expert, and he couldn't defeat a peak-stage pure yang expert. However, if he wanted to leave, no one under the fifth-dimensional realm could stop him. However, in the face of an ancestor lord of the fifth dimension, the current him could neither block nor escape. After all, the difference in cultivation was too great. There was a gap of 2 whole realms, which was truly like the gap between heaven and earth. Now that he had entered the Illusion Sorcerer Divine Sect, the sect master of the Illusion Sorcerer Divine Sect had reached the 5th dimensional realm. Coming here alone was no different from stepping into the land of death. However, he had still come alone. He had to save Mu Fengqing. Before this, he actually wanted to go to the Yu family to seek help, but after thinking about it, he decided against it. First, because of Yu Fengqing's matter, he wasn't sure if the Yu family was in a state of internal strife. If so, it would be pointless for him to go there. Second, and most importantly, the ancestor of the Yu family was only at the initial stage of the 5th dimensional realm. Even if the Yu family wasn't in a state of internal strife, and the ancestor of the Yu family came to help, he still wouldn't be able to stop the sect master of the Illusion Sorcerer Divine Sect. This was because the sect master of the Illusion Sorcerer Divine Sect had also reached the 5th dimensional realm and controlled one of the laws of the 5th dimension, the Inverse Tao Law. With the Inverse Tao Law, it could be said that an ordinary ancestor lord of the 5th dimensional realm would be killed in the blink of an eye. Therefore, even if the ancestor of the Yu family was willing to help, it would be useless. He would only be courting death. In the end, he came alone. With his current strength, he wouldn't be able to stop the sect master of the Illusion Sorcerer Divine Sect, but he wasn't stupid enough to send himself to death. He had his own methods. However, it was a gamble. He headed towards the northwest of the Illusion Sorcerer Divine Sect. Soon, the disciples of the Illusion Sorcerer Divine Sect saw him. "It's you. You killed the young sect master and dared to barge into the Illusion Sorcerer Divine Sect. What are you doing here? Aren't the Grand Elders outside the sect? Why did they let him barge in?" These disciples didn't know what had happened outside the Illusion Sorcerer Divine Sect. When they saw Lin Tian, their hearts palpitated. Everyone took out their artifacts and surrounded Lin Tian. However, these people only surrounded Lin Tian and didn't dare to make a move. They had all heard rumors about Lin Tian and knew how terrifying Lin Tian was. If they dared to make a move, they would definitely be killed in the blink of an eye. Even though they were simply surrounding Lin Tian, the disciples of the Illusion Sorcerer Divine Sect had fear in their eyes. They were afraid that Lin Tian would attack them. However, they were still disciples of the Illusion Sorcerer Divine Sect. They couldn't just watch Lin Tian barge into the sect and do nothing. Surrounded by the disciples, Lin Tian's footsteps didn't change at all. He continued to head towards the northwest. The weapons in the hands of the Illusion Sorcerer Divine Sect's disciples glowed with holy light. They surrounded Lin Tian, but they followed Lin Tian's footsteps. Fear and dread were written all over their faces. In the blink of an eye, dozens of breaths passed. Lin Tian arrived at the northwest of the Illusion Sorcerer Divine Sect. "Mu Fengqing, what's the inverse law like? Tell us about it." As soon as he arrived, he heard a voice from afar. In the distance, the door to one of the lower floors was open. 3 youths stood at the door, one with a sharp mouth and monkey-like cheeks, the other with long and narrow eyes. Looking in that direction, his footsteps quickened, heading straight for the room. "We're asking you a question. Why won't you speak? Are you mute? Young sect master unfortunately died, and you still have the face to come back? Did you think that after the young sect master's death, you would be able to replace him as the only descendant of the sect master? What a pity you didn't expect the end to be like this, did you? Speaking of which, you really don't have the slightest self-awareness. You're just a bastard. What are you? Hurry up, stop wasting time, and tell us what the inverse law feels like. If you don't open your mouth, don't blame us for being impolite. With your current appearance, we can crush you to death with our bare hands, just like crushing an ant. Don't expect the sect master to avenge you. Even if we kill you, the sect master won't say a word about it. You're nothing in the sect master's eyes, an eyesore like a maggot in a cesspool. Hurry up and tell us." The 3 of them sneered, their faces full of ridicule. Seeing this scene from afar, Lin Tian's eyes immediately turned cold. A hurricane swept out from his body, causing the surrounding disciples to vomit blood and fly away. He took a step forward and arrived in front of the room in the blink of an eye. where he saw Mu Fengqing. At this time, Mu Fengqing's face was as pale as white flour, and the flame of his life seemed like it could be extinguished at any time. He sat at a table, pouring water, and the hand holding the teapot was trembling uncontrollably. His aura was incomparably weak. As he appeared, Mu Fengqing naturally saw him and was startled. At the same time, the three illusory sorcerer sect disciples standing at the entrance were shocked as they recognized Lin Tian. It's you. You. The three of them staggered back. Lin Tian looked at Mu Fengqing and raised his sword. 3 rays of Tao, defying swords swept out and landed on the 3 retreating disciples. Puff, puff, puff. 3 mists of blood exploded. The 3 of them didn't even have time to scream before their bodies and souls were destroyed. How did you? Mu Fengqing put down the teapot in his hand and stood up. He pressed his hands on the table to support his body. Even so, his body was still trembling. That was because he was too weak. He stared at Lin Tian. This place was the illusion sorcerer sect. Why was Lin Tian here? Look at your current state. You can't even stand properly. Do you still want to stay here? I've already said that this place isn't worth your time. Lin Tian said. He walked into the room with the Tao defying sword. 9-colored radiance poured out and entered Mu Fengqing's body, healing Mu Fengqing's injuries. At the same time, he enveloped Mu Fengqing with a 9-colored radiance and pulled Mu Fengqing out of the room. Almost at the same time, when he and Mu Fengqing were only 10 meters away from the pavilion, a vast and unparalleled pressure shrouded the area. A middle-aged man in a black robe appeared and stood in the air, his eyes deep and cold. Chapter 2385. Lin Tian had killed a group of elders and a grand elder outside the illusion sorcerer divine sect and forced his way into the illusion sorcerer divine sect. After that, a core disciple of the illusion sorcerer divine sect informed the sect master and the first and second grand elders of the illusion sorcerer divine sect. The illusion sorcerer divine sect's sect master immediately used his 5th-dimensional spirit sense to find this place. At the same time, the other sect masters who had come to congratulate the illusion sorcerer divine sect had also arrived. You damn thing! How dare you! You killed Guanqing and even dared to barge into our illusion sorcerer divine sect. The first supreme elder looked at Lin Tian and shouted coldly. The killing intent in his eyes was not concealed at all. It was extremely intense. The second grand elder didn't say anything, but his gaze was also incomparably cold. They had already learned that a group of elders and the third grand elder of the illusion sorcerer divine sect had died at the hands of Lin Tian. To the illusion sorcerer divine sect, this was a huge loss. Moreover, the sect masters had come to congratulate the illusion sorcerer divine sect's sect master for entering the 5th-dimensional realm, but Lin Tian had come to make a scene. This was simply a slap to the illusion sorcerer divine sect's face. Lin Tian glanced at the first grand elder of the illusion sorcerer divine sect and didn't pay much attention to him. His gaze landed on the illusion sorcerer divine sect's sect master. Looking at the other party, he could clearly sense that the inverse Tao energy on the other party's body was far less dense than when it was on Mu Fengqing's body. It was obvious that even though the other party had used a secret technique to seize Mu Fengqing's inverse Tao law, he still couldn't control it to the point where it was infinitely close to completion like Mu Fengqing. Purely based on the degree of control he had over it, he couldn't even compare to Mu Fengqing. For a moment, Lin Tian's gaze turned cold. That power originally belonged to Mu Fengqing, but it was taken away by the so-called father that Mu Fengqing cared so much about. After that, he didn't even treat Mu Fengqing's injuries and left Mu Fengqing to fend for himself. Even a few ordinary sect disciples dared to humiliate Mu Fengqing. What kind of father was he? He was worse than an animal. Father. Mu Fengqing's face was pale. At this moment, his gaze naturally landed on the illusionary which sect master as he weakly spoke. Shut up! You don't have the right to call me that. The illusory which sect master's eyes turned frosty. Guanqing died tragically, but you returned alive. You didn't die at the hands of that bastard beside you, and now That bastard is here specifically for you. It seems like the rumors in the sect are true. A bastard like you has been colluding with him since the beginning, deliberately putting on a show to kill Guanxing, then manifesting as a Tao-defying heavenly Tao and returning to the sect. You want to replace Guanxing as the young sect master and control the entire illusory witch sect in the future. Mu Fengqing's pale face immediately changed. He quickly explained, "No, father, I really didn't. You still dare to argue? I should have killed both you and your son back then. You actually caused Guanxing to die tragically outside the sect." The illusionary witch sect master said coldly. As soon as he said this, Lin Tian's eyes immediately narrowed. "Kill you and your son together? What did he mean by that?" At the same time, Mu Fengqing also heard it and trembled slightly. "Father, what did you say?" "My mother," the illusionary witch sect master said coldly. "It's already a great blessing for this seat to have you here. How dare you come to this seat because Guanxing bullied you? You're courting death." Mu Fengqing's body trembled even more violently, and his eyes widened. "My mother was killed by you? So what if I was?" Ordinary emperors in the mortal world can order the death of their concubines in a fit of anger. But this seat is the sect master of a sect. How dare a lowly woman mention anything in front of this seat and offend this seat? Can't this seat kill her? The illusionary witch sect master said coldly. Mu Fengqing's body trembled uncontrollably as he stared at the illusionary witch sect master. Hatred surged out from his eyes. He was born in the illusionary witch sect, and only his mother doted on him. When he was 6 years old, his mother suddenly disappeared, and he was told by the illusionary witch sect master that she was dead. When he asked for the reason, the illusionary witch sect master didn't tell him and only coldly told him to serve Mu Guanxing well. After being heartbroken for half a year, he recovered and silently served Mu Guanxing since he was young. No matter how much he was beaten or scolded, he did not fight back. He only thought about obeying his father's orders and never going against his father's will. Although his father had never treated him well, he was still his father. After his mother passed away, he was his only family in this world. He tried his best to follow his father's orders and hoped that one day his father would treat him well. He hoped that one day his father would truly recognize him and recognize him as a father and son. However, he never expected that his mother, the only one who doted on him, would be killed by this man. It was this man who he had always hoped would recognize him, who took away the only person who cared about him. In an instant, he seemed to have turned into a crazed beast. He roared, and his eyes were filled with hatred. He pushed Lin Tian aside and charged at the illusionary witch sect master. His weak body staggered, and after just a few steps, he fell to the ground. "Ah!" A roar filled with hatred and pain echoed. He was too weak and did not even have the strength to stand up. He could only raise his head and stare at the sect master of the illusionary sorcerer sect. Strands of blood appeared in his eyes, and tears fell, instantly wetting his entire face. He clenched his fists so tightly that his nails dug deep into his flesh. The expressions of the surrounding cultivators turned solemn. Even the first and second grand elders were the same. They never thought that Mu Fengqing's birth mother, that woman, would be personally killed by the sect master of the illusionary sorcerer sect. The illusionary witch sect master's eyes were cold. "You bastard! You dare to show hatred and hostility toward your own father. As expected, I should have killed both you and your mother back then. Get lost and accompany your lowly mother." As soon as he finished speaking, he attacked mercilessly. A murderous light slashed straight at Mu Fengqing. In the blink of an eye, the murderous light landed in front of Mu Fengqing. At this moment, there was a whoosh. Lin Tian instantly blocked in front of Mu Fengqing. The inverse Tao law and the law of all beginnings surged at the same time. The reincarnation divine territory was also raised to meet the illusionary witch sect master's murderous light. There was a loud boom. In the blink of an eye, the inverse Tao law and the law of all beginnings that he had used all his strength shattered. The reincarnation divine territory also shattered. He took a step back, and the blood in his body churned violently. His face turned pale in an instant. In this place, everyone's pupils shrank slightly. That was the inverse Tao law and the law of all beginnings. It's just as the rumors say. He has control over them. A glint flashed across the eyes of the sect masters. At the same time, they were also shocked by something else. Just now, although the murderous light that the illusionary witch sect master had thrown out was just a casual attack, it still contained the power of the fifth dimensional realm. However, Lin Tian had blocked it with his early-stage all-creation cultivation. This was too shocking. Even the illusionary witch sect master's eyes narrowed slightly. However, in the next moment, his gaze became even colder. He stared at Lin Tian with an eerie gaze. "You killed Guanxing. I haven't even looked for you, but you came to me of your own accord. Very good, very good." He looked at Lin Tian, and strange sacred runes intertwined around his body. "After I get your law of all beginnings, I'll send you to hell to accompany my son Guanxing." He looked at Lin Tian, his eyes cold. From afar, he walked toward Lin Tian, step by step. The pressure of the fifth-dimensional realm was vast and mighty. When the pressure of the fifth-dimensional realm appeared, all the cultivators present couldn't help but feel their hearts palpitate, and they couldn't help but retreat. Mu Fengqing was extremely weak, and it was difficult for him to stand up. He raised his hand and grabbed Lin Tian's calf. "Go, go." Lin Tian turned his head and looked at Mu Fengqing. His eyes were bloodshot, filled with hatred, and filled with tears. A great man's face was wet with tears. It was just like how he used to be. "One day, you will become my guardian, my comrade. I, Lin Tian, will not allow anyone to bully my comrade. No one can bully him." He looked at Mu Fengqing and enunciated each word clearly. After he finished speaking, he tilted his head and looked at the illusionary witch sect master again. The coldness in his eyes became even thicker, and killing intent intertwined. "Your comrade can't be bullied by anyone? Who do you think you are?" The illusionary witch sect master walked over step by step. A mere all-creation realm and dares to spout nonsense. As he walked, the pressure of the fifth-dimensional realm gradually became stronger, and the surrounding space was immediately sealed and solidified. Lin Tian's gaze was ice-cold. The pressure of the fifth-dimensional realm was like the entire sky pressing down on him, causing his soul to tremble in intense pain. However, his expression didn't change in the slightest, and there was only endless coldness. In the depths of his soul, on his soul root, a new sacred rune seal began to tremble. In the next moment, it shattered with a chi sound. The fifth seal that the celestial arch had placed on his soul root had been broken. In an instant, it was as if there was a terrifying volcano erupting in his body. His entire body immediately emitted boundless holy light, which was so dazzling that it was difficult to open one's eyes. Endless visions of heaven and earth immediately surrounded him. Boom! Within a radius of tens of thousands of kilometers, endless spiritual energy surged over. At the same time, the entire illusionary witch sect shook violently. The countless great veins underground began to glow, and even the suppression of the grand protective formation was completely useless. The heavenly materials and earthly treasures stored in the sect's treasury also turned into endless spiritual energy and quickly rushed into his body. In the blink of an eye, his essence, energy, and spirit began to rise at an extremely shocking speed. His cultivation also skyrocketed, and in an instant, he reached the mid-all-creation realm from the early all-creation realm. After that, he didn't stop and quickly rushed toward the peak all-creation realm. At the same time, blood gushed out of his mouth, and cracks appeared on his body one after another. All the blood vessels in his body bulged and burst, and bright red blood overflowed from every inch of his skin. In the blink of an eye, a large patch of his clothes was dyed red. Following that, the sacred light that rushed out of his body became even denser and more blazing, and the surrounding space trembled and rumbled. At this moment, the myriad Daos of the world couldn't help but tremble. Endless rays of light surged out, as if they had a consciousness of their own. They were like lowly servants, and with him as the center, they prostrated themselves in worship. In the sky, even more phenomena appeared, covering half of the sky. This is the Chapter 2386. Countless strange phenomena surrounded the sky. There were holy mountains, immortal palaces, ancient pavilions, birds and beasts galloping, countless gods, devils, ghosts, and immortals, and even the broken universe. They were so real that they struck fear into all the Deities in the world. Rumble! The entire illusion sorcerer divine sect shook violently. Endless spiritual energy of heaven and earth rolled in, drowning the entire space. Everyone in the illusion sorcerer divine sect was shocked. What's going on? What did he do? Why did he suddenly? The endless strange phenomena were too terrifying, and the terrified Deities were too frightening. Everyone's eyes fell on Lin Tian. Outside Lin Tian's body, holy light blazed. Endless spiritual energy of heaven and earth rushed into his body crazily. His essence, energy, and cultivation rose rapidly. Not long after, he rose from the middle stage of the all-creation realm to the peak of the all-creation realm. At the same time, more blood gushed out of his mouth. More cracks appeared on his body, and more blood vessels burst. With his early stage all-creation realm cultivation, he couldn't stop the illusion sorcerer divine sect master from the fifth dimension. Even if he asked the Yu family ancestor for help, it would be useless. However, he had to take Mu Fengqing away. Therefore, there was only one way he could think of to come here alone. That was to undo the fifth seal that his father, who was known as the eternal heavenly emperor, left on his soul root. Once he undid the fifth seal on his soul root, the boundless spiritual Tao force within hundreds of thousands of kilometers would surge towards him for a short period of time. The underground veins of the Mirage Sorcerer sect were naturally extraordinary, and there would certainly be many extraordinary treasures in the sect's treasure vault. He knew very well that once he undid the fifth seal on his soul root, they would all turn into pure spiritual Tao force along with the radiance and flow into his body on their own to improve his cultivation. He also believed that after undoing the fifth seal, the foundation vein and endless treasures of heaven and earth would turn into spiritual energy and enter his body. He would definitely be able to step into the pure yang realm in an extremely short period of time. The speed of his cultivation would be many times faster than when he was unsealing the first 4 layers of soul root. This was because there was a qualitative difference between the soul root seal and the soul root seal that sealed his potential. At the same time, with his current cultivation, it was impossible for him to smoothly remove the fifth seal on his soul root. At the very least, he would have to wait until he reached the fifth dimension before he could do so. Now that he had forcefully removed the fifth seal on his soul root, the monstrous potential within him had blossomed. Although it had allowed him to continuously transform, it had also caused him to be continuously corroded. Right now, it was still difficult for him to bear the unsealing of his soul root's 5 seals. However, he was also very clear that even though it was still difficult for him to withstand a soul root in its 5th unsealed state with his current manifestation realm cultivation, it was not enough to take his life. It would only continuously corrode his body and cause him to be continuously injured. Once the injuries reached a limit, it would eventually stop. However, although this kind of injury was not enough to take his life, the pain was undoubtedly inhuman. He could faint from this inhuman pain at any time. He was gambling that he would be able to maintain his consciousness under such inhumane pain, defeat the 5th-dimensional illusion sorcerer sect master, and then safely bring Mu Fengqing away from the illusion sorcerer sect. Boom! Blazing holy light surrounded his body, and an endless amount of spiritual energy surged in from all directions. Powerful tornadoes swept through the area with him as the center, shaking the entire area. Our sect's foundation is dissipating. It has already dissipated by more than half. Sect Master, this The expressions of the first and second grand elders of the illusion sorcerer sect changed drastically, and their eyes were filled with anxiety. For a great sect, the inheritance of ancient scriptures and the foundation of the sect were incomparably important. The earth vein root of the illusion sorcerer sect had been extraordinary since the earth vein root of the illusion sorcerer sect. After generations of strengthening, there were not many great sects below the top 5 orthodoxies that could compare to it. But now, in the blink of an eye, more than half of the earth vein root's brilliance had turned into boundless spiritual energy and surged into Lin Tian's body. Even with the suppression of the defensive formation, it was useless. They even noticed that many of the natural treasures in the sect's treasury were disappearing along with the brilliance. While the sect master was moved by Lin Tian's sudden change, he also noticed this. His gaze became even colder, and he rushed toward Lin Tian with extreme speed and pressed down with his palm. "What are you doing, you ant?" The fifth dimension's Saint energy pressed down. Although he was not using his full strength, his might caused everyone's hearts to tremble. The group of cultivators could not help but retreat, afraid that they would be affected by the illusion sorcerer sect master's aura. Lin Tian's clothes were stained with blood, and his eyes were cold as ice. He closed his eyes for a moment before opening them again. 9 black moons intertwined in his left eye, and endless runes revolved in his right eye. The aura of destiny and reincarnation surged out, ethereal and majestic. Boom! Silently, a reincarnation river appeared above the illusion sorcerer sect master's head, and a vortex of destiny intertwined with it. The mighty pressure caused the illusion sorcerer sect master to stop in his tracks and retreat quickly. After retreating dozens of feet, the illusion sorcerer sect master looked at Lin Tian again. His powerful Tao body trembled violently. At the same time, the sect masters of the other great sects and the 2 grand elders of the illusion sorcerer sect turned pale. That is reincarnation? The sect masters who came to congratulate the illusion sorcerer sect master were all in the pure sun realm, and the 2 grand elders of the illusion sorcerer sect were also in the pure sun realm. They were not ordinary experts in the 5th dimension, and there were too many records in the ancient books of the 5th dimension. Naturally, they knew about reincarnation. At this time, they all looked at Lin Tian in shock. Today, they actually saw the legendary reincarnation. Someone actually controlled reincarnation. Since ancient times, countless peerless experts had tried to control reincarnation. However, as far as they knew, those who tried to control reincarnation all ended up in the most miserable state. No one had ever succeeded. Legend had it that even the most ancient supremes of heaven and earth didn't have the slightest confidence in controlling reincarnation and didn't dare to set foot in it. But now, in front of them, a cultivator from the later era actually controlled reincarnation. His right eye, that's the legendary reincarnation eye that can see the essence of all things. Some sect masters trembled in fear. At this moment, they ignored Lin Tian's left eye and focused on Lin Tian's right eye. Endless reincarnation, Tao patterns intertwined within it, causing their souls to tremble involuntarily. Just looking at that eye from afar made them feel like they were about to be devoured. Who is he? How can he? Everyone's hearts palpitated at this moment. Looking at Lin Tian now, they couldn't help but feel a sense of horror. Some time ago, news of Lin Tian controlling both the law of all beginnings and the Tao-defying law had already caused a huge uproar in the 5th dimension. All the sect masters were shocked by this news. Now, what they didn't expect was that Lin Tian also controlled reincarnation. Controlling reincarnation. Compared to this, what were the all beginnings and the Tao-defying law? Reincarnation was a power that even the supremes of heaven and earth were wary of. Mu Fengqing was extremely weak. Looking up at Lin Tian, he naturally recognized the reincarnation aura on Lin Tian's body. His eyes were bloodshot, filled with hatred and tears. He couldn't help but be stunned. At the same time, he also saw that Lin Tian was covered in blood. He wasn't injured by anyone else, but by Lin Tian himself. He wasn't an idiot. He instantly realized that Lin Tian had definitely utilized some sort of unknown and special method to forcefully increase his cultivation at this moment. Moreover, his own body had been injured because of this special method. Moreover, his injuries were clearly not light. Why? We clearly don't have any interactions. We're not even the most ordinary of friends. We can even be considered enemies. Why did you barge in here for me? Why are you helping me? Ever since he was born, he had only felt concern from his biological mother. After his mother passed away, no one cared about him anymore. All he had to endure were mocking gazes and all kinds of humiliation. But now, a man who was clearly his enemy, the man he had said he wanted to kill, had barged into the illusion sorcerer sect alone for him. For him, Lin Tian had made an enemy of the entire illusion sorcerer sect. For him, Lin Tian didn't hesitate to sacrifice his own body to increase his strength. He couldn't understand why his biological father, who he cared about so much, would kill his mother, who only cared about him, and use him as a tool. After seizing his strength, he wanted to kill him, and yet, the man he wanted to kill was willing to sacrifice himself for him. What did this mean? Didn't I say it before? Lin Tian turned around to look at him, blood flowing out of the corner of his mouth. Even more blood vessels rupturing. There will be a day when you will be my guardian battle general, my comrade. I, Lin Tian, will not allow anyone to humiliate my comrade. Rumble. The illusion sorcerer divine sect was shaken. In a very short time, the countless great veins beneath the sect began to glow and dry up. The innumerable treasures in the sect's treasure vault began to glow as well, transforming into boundless spiritual energy that surged into his body along with the sect's great veins. In an instant, his cultivation broke through once more, surpassing his previous limit as he stepped into the early pure yang stage. Boom! The sky shook violently, and a huge lightning vortex condensed at the first moment. Within it, black lightning recklessly tumbled. The entire illusion sorcerer sect was enveloped in endless darkness as a destructive aura descended from the heavens. All Daos trembled. All living things were terrified. Pure yang, heavenly tribulation. He stepped into the pure yang stage. The great sect masters were shocked once again. In less than 2 hours, Lin Tian had advanced from the early manifestation stage to the early pure yang stage. What kind of cultivation speed was this? This is the person who controls reincarnation. Who is he? Is he really a creature from the fourth dimension? Chapter 2387. Boom! The sky rumbled and trembled again. Black lightning bolts flashed in the lightning vortex, and the destructive aura became even stronger. Facing the lightning tribulation, the sect masters and sect masters of the illusionary sorcerer divine sect were terrified. "Retreat," said someone. Immediately, the leaders of the great sects retreated at lightning speed. The pure yang heavenly punishment was too terrifying. The sect masters were only in the early stage of the pure yang realm. They felt that any lightning bolt from the heavenly tribulation could easily take their lives. Boom! Another ear-piercing thunderclap exploded, and a black lightning vortex appeared, causing the surroundings to become even darker. The lightning vortex enveloped Lin Tian. The first round of the heavenly punishment gradually appeared in the form of a boundless mountain of lightning. Lin Tian raised his head, his eyes cold. The reincarnation sword slashed out from his body, and a destructive sword aura burst out. This sword was the combination of his reincarnation, destiny, all beginnings, and the inverse Tao. In an instant, the sky seemed to have been pierced. The destructive heavenly punishment trembled, and the black lightning vortex immediately dissipated. Such a scene caused the crowd of cultivators to tremble once again. Everyone could feel how terrifying the pure sun realm lightning punishment was. It was absolutely destructive. But now, it was destroyed by Lin Tian with a single slash. At this time, after the heavenly punishment dissipated, a 7-colored auspicious cloud gradually condensed in the sky. This was a gift from the heavenly punishment. The 7-colored divine light, which contained the power of heaven and earth, fell from the sky and enveloped him. Because of this seven-colored divine light, the blood on his body flowed slower, but it still flowed continuously. It was to the extent that a crack had appeared on his divine soul. Intense pain intertwined in every corner of his body. Even breathing was unbearable. Although the crack on his body slowed down a lot because of the seven-colored divine light, it still spread slowly. Good, good, good. Lin Tian, right? You've really given me the greatest surprise. After a short moment of shock, the sect master couldn't help but reveal an expression of ecstasy. Dense sacred runes surrounded his body, and he stared at Lin Tian as if he was staring at delicious prey. Reincarnation, destiny, and all beginnings. I'll take them all. With a whoosh, the powerful ancestral lord of the fifth dimension rushed toward Lin Tian again. At this moment, he completely ignored the destruction of the sect's foundation and no longer cared about it. All his attention was on Lin Tian. He possessed a supreme, ancient technique, and he'd obtained it by chance when he was traveling outside. He could seize the laws and Tao energy of others for his own use. He'd originally thought that Lin Tian only possessed the laws of all beginnings and the laws of defiance. After seizing Mu Fengqing's laws of defiance, he'd been extremely happy just thinking about seizing Lin Tian's laws of all beginnings. However, he'd never imagined that Lin Tian actually possessed the laws of destiny as well. He'd actually possessed the legendary laws of reincarnation. With that special technique, he could seize Lin Tian's reincarnation. At that time, he would possess the power of reincarnation. Then, in the future, he would work hard to cultivate it to greater mastery and control it completely. At that time, he would be truly invincible. Even those ancient sovereigns of heaven and earth would be nothing in front of him and could only submit to him. With a boom, in the blink of an eye, he rushed in front of Lin Tian and pressed down on him with countless sacred runes. Lin Tian's clothes were stained with blood, and every muscle in his body was in intense pain. Even his soul and eyes were no exception. However, his gaze was still cold. His Rinnegan trembled slightly, and the formless power of reincarnation turned into a terrifying wave that swept out in an instant. Bang! With a muffled sound, the sacred runes outside the sect master's body were instantly extinguished, and he was sent flying like a scarecrow. Sect master. This scene caused the two elders and the ordinary disciples' faces to change color. Their sect master was a powerful existence of the fifth dimension, but now he was sent flying by Lin Tian. This scene was too shocking. With a boom, the sect master stopped himself in the distance. He wasn't injured at all, and he looked at Lin Tian with ecstasy. The power of reincarnation? Good. Powerful indeed. Very good. He laughed loudly. Outside his body, the sacred runes from before appeared once again. At the same time, the inverse law appeared as well. Lin Tian looked at him coldly. His gaze fell on the special sacred runes outside the sect master's body, and traces of light intertwined in his eyes. In the next moment he moved, enduring the inhumane pain brought by the unsealing of the fifth-level soul root. He took a step forward and disappeared in an instant. In the next moment, he appeared in front of the sect master. Without any unnecessary movements, he simply waved his fist, and the light of reincarnation moved along with his fist. The sect master's eyes were filled with greed, and he stared at Lin Tian as if he was staring at his prey. He used the inverse law to attack Lin Tian, and the sacred runes outside his body turned into endless light. Following the inverse law, they also pressed down on Lin Tian. Reincarnation, hand it over. His voice was cold. The special sacred runes outside his body were the mystical secret technique he found by chance during his travels. It was called the Thieving Heaven Secret Technique. This secret technique could seize the power of Tao from others for his own use. Before he stepped into the fifth-dimensional realm, he had to first suppress others and make them lose the ability to resist. After that, he would have to spend at least a month to seize the power of Tao from others. But now, after he stepped into the fifth-dimensional realm, his strength had greatly increased, and he no longer needed to do so. With the support of a powerful fifth-dimensional realm cultivator, He didn't need to spend more than a month to obtain the laws of Tao from Zone Thieving Heaven like he did in the past. Now, with the support of a powerful fifth-dimensional realm cultivator, he could directly use this secret technique to seize the power of Tao from others in battle. The inverse law pressed down on Lin Tian in the blink of an eye, and the Thieving Heaven Saint runes also landed in front of him, pressing down on Lin Tian. Lin Tian's gaze was cold. His left eye of destiny trembled slightly, and his body turned illusory. The sect master's inverse law and Thieving Heaven Saint runes passed through his illusory body. The sect master's expression immediately changed. It was also at this moment that Lin Tian's fist descended and landed on his face, forcefully interrupting him. Bang! With a muffled sound, Lin Tian's fist, which was stained with his own blood, landed on the sect master's face, smashing half of his face and sending him flying once again. The sect master was sent flying, but he quickly stabilized his body and healed his injuries. He looked at Lin Tian in shock, anger, and disbelief. "You ant. You're just a pure young cultivator." His voice was cold, and the fanaticism in his eyes dissipated. With a rumble, the pressure of a fifth-dimensional realm cultivator rose sharply, and the inverse law was activated once again, along with the Thieving Heaven Saint runes. Lin Tian took a step forward. His steps were slow, as if he was stepping on the nodes of heaven and earth. In the blink of an eye, he appeared in front of the sect master. Bang! A simple punch disregarded everything and landed on the illusion shaman sect master's chest, sending him flying thousands of feet away once again. Bright red blood splattered in the air. Some of it was the sect master's blood, and some of it was his own. However, the sect master's blood was splattered because of his injuries, while his own blood was the result of his own injuries after unsealing his soul root. At this moment, blood continuously flowed out of his body. After sending the sect master flying with a punch, his arm trembled slightly. Unsealing the fifth seal on his soul root had activated the power of the entire illusion which divines sect's earth veins, as well as the many heavenly treasures in the sect's treasury. In the blink of an eye, he had stepped into the pure yang realm, and his battle prowess had skyrocketed. However, forcibly unsealing the fifth seal on his soul root in advance had also caused him severe injuries. His entire body was in intense pain. This kind of pain was incomparable to the heavenly tribulation tempering his body. Ever since he stepped onto the path of cultivation, this was the first time he had experienced such inhuman pain. However, his expression didn't change in the slightest. Blood continued to flow out of his body as he walked towards the sect master, leaving behind afterimages with each step. In the blink of an eye, he appeared in front of the sect master, who had just stabilized himself. The moment the sect master used the inverse law and heaven-stealing secret technique, Lin Fan slapped down with the power of the law of all beginnings, annihilating everything. Pa! The slap landed firmly on the illusion shaman sect master's face, causing him to fly away once again, cutting a sorry figure. Damn it! After being sent flying again and again, and being slapped by Lin Tian in front of everyone, the sect master's face was filled with rage. All sorts of divine abilities were displayed. The pressure of the fifth dimension was vast and mighty, enveloping the entire area. The sect masters and the other illusion, which divine sect cultivators all trembled and couldn't help but retreat once again. They couldn't bear such a terrifying aura. Lin Tian's expression didn't change at all as he walked towards the sect master. Blood dripped from his body with every step he took. "Kneel down for me." The sect master shouted coldly and used all sorts of techniques to suppress Lin Tian. Lin Tian took a step forward, and his left eye of destiny trembled slightly. His body turned illusory, filtering all the attacks as he walked towards the sect master, as if he was walking on flat ground. Then, the reincarnation Tao pattern in his right eye of reincarnation shone, and in an instant, endless reincarnation light descended. At the same time, he stepped in front of the sect master and used the law of all beginnings and the inverse law at the same time. His gaze was deep and cold, as it fell on the heaven-stealing Saint Rune outside the sect master's body. Boom! 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 The intense battle shook the entire illusion sorcerer sect. In the blink of an eye, 15 minutes had passed. The sect master was sent flying again and again, and his blood dyed the void red. The sect master was suppressed. He suppressed the fifth dimension with his early-stage, pure yang cultivation. This is the ability of someone who has control over reincarnation? The sect masters were shocked. How big was the gap between the pure yang realm and the fifth dimension? The difference was like heaven and earth. But now Lin Tian, with his early-stage pure yang cultivation, was suppressing the sect master, who was at the early-stage fifth dimension. At the same time, the cultivators of the illusion, which divine sect trembled, and their faces turned pale. In their field of vision, their sect master, who was at the fifth dimension and had control over the inverse law, was sent flying again and again by Lin Tian, and his blood splattered everywhere. The first Grand Elder and second Grand Elder were both shocked, and their eyes were filled with disbelief. In the next moment, the first Grand Elder's gaze suddenly landed on Mu Fengqing. He's here for this bastard. Take him down and restrain him. As soon as he finished speaking, the first Grand Elder moved. Taking advantage of the battle between Lin Tian and the illusion which divine sect master, he charged towards Mu Fengqing. Chapter 2388. The first Grand Elder of the Illusion Sorcerer sect was in the Pure Sun realm. His speed was very fast, and he appeared in front of Mu Fengqing in the blink of an eye. Colluding with outsiders, you traitor! The man's eyes were cold as he raised his hand to grab Mu Fengqing. Lin Tian was fighting with the illusion which Clan's sect master in the distance. When he saw this scene, his left eye of destiny moved slightly. He used his teleportation ability and disappeared from the battlefield in the blink of an eye. He appeared in front of Mu Feng and stopped the first Supreme Elder. At the same time, in his right reincarnation eye, strands of reincarnation, Dao, inscriptions intertwined and flashed with a faint light. The first Great Elder suddenly trembled, his pupils bulging out of their sockets. In an instant, he discovered that his soul had been pulled into a purgatory. Countless resentful spirits roared and rushed over, frantically tearing at his soul. Ah! A shrill scream, mixed with fear, came out of his mouth at the first moment. His eyes were bloodshot in an instant, and he staggered backwards. Then his scream gradually became softer, and after a few breaths he fell to the ground with a bang, no longer breathing. His physical body was still there, but his soul was shattered. The sect master's pupils shrank, and their eyes were filled with horror. What just happened? They clearly didn't see Lin Tian make any moves, but the first Grand Elder of the Illusion Sorcerer sect let out a shrill scream and died. Lin Tian tilted his head and looked at the sect master again. His eyes were deep and cold. 9 black moons revolved in his left eye, and countless Dao patterns intertwined in his right eye. It was as if he could see through everything in the world. He walked towards the sect master step by step. The blood vessels in his body were constantly bursting. Even though the Reincarnation Heart Sutra was circulating, it couldn't stop at this moment. The pain was even more intense than before. However, his expression didn't change. He looked at the sect master as if he was looking at an animal maggot. Facing such a gaze, the Illusion Sorcerer sect's sect master's face turned even colder. He was the dignified sect master of a fifth-dimensional realm expert, but now he was being repeatedly injured by a Pure Sun Realm Junior and treated in such a manner. "Ant!" he roared coldly. The majestic fifth-dimensional realm, Saint Aura, was fully activated at this moment, and boundless saint energy surged. Lin Tian stepped forward as if he was stepping on the nodes of heaven and earth. His right reincarnation eye moved slightly, and he immediately summoned a reincarnation river. It instantly suppressed the sect master, and the teleportation ability of his left eye of destiny was activated again. In the blink of an eye, he appeared in front of the sect master. He raised his right hand and pressed down on the other hand the reincarnation river. The illusion shaman's sect master was swept into the reincarnation river and resisted the power of the reincarnation river intensely. Lin Tian's right hand instantly landed on his chest. Buzz! Strands of special saint runes appeared around his right hand. They were weak at first, but soon became stronger. Together with the power of the reincarnation heavenly river, they enveloped the illusion sorcerer sect master, making it difficult for him to move. At the same time, the other sect leaders' expressions changed as they looked at the special saint runes around Lin Tian's right hand. Their eyes narrowed, and some even trembled. Some of the sect masters were shocked. This was a supreme technique that the sect master of the illusion sorcery sect had chanced upon by chance. All along, only the sect master of the illusion sorcery sect knew of it. In this world, anyone who had reached the pure sun realm knew of it, and they were certain that Lin Tian definitely did not know this technique before this. But now Lin Tian had used this technique. It was obvious that he had learned it after the illusion sorcerer sect master had used it. Law of all beginnings, Tao-defying law, thieving heaven's secret method. As long as it's a law or divine ability he sees, can he learn it in the blink of an eye? This, the sect masters of the great sects couldn't help but tremble. Who exactly was this person? Was he even human? Was this something a human could do? At the same time, the illusion sorcery sect master's expression changed. His stealing heaven's secret technique had been learned by Lin Tian. At the same time, he realized that the Tao-defying law he had seized from Mu Fengqing was rapidly flowing into Lin Tian's palm. At this moment, Lin Tian was actually using the thieving heaven's secret technique to extract the Tao-defying law he had seized from Mu Fengqing. Damn it, stop! Stop right there! He roared and struggled frantically. Lin Tian's eyes were cold. His right Rinnegan moved slightly as he looked at the illusion sorcery sect master's eyes and activated the reincarnation purgatory. This was a real illusion-killing technique, and it caused the illusion sorcery sect master to tremble. Then, just like the first Grand Elder, he clearly saw his soul being pulled into a purgatory and being torn apart by countless vengeful spirits. You want to trap me with a low-level illusion? Damn it! Break for me! Break! 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 He roared, and his fifth-dimensional realm saint energy surged out. His soul erupted with boundless light, and he shook off the countless vengeful spirits in the reincarnation purgatory, escaping from this real illusion-killing technique. However, it was also at this moment that he trembled violently. The Tao-defying law in his body was completely extracted in an instant. He looked at Lin Tian with incomparable shock and anger. You deserve to slap. Lin Tian raised his left hand, and a resounding slap landed on his face, sending him flying several thousand feet away. In the center of his right hand, a ball of sparkling Tao light intertwined, causing the Tao in all directions to tremble. It was Mu Fengqing's Tao-defying law that he had extracted from the illusion sorcery sect master using the thieving heaven secret technique. Holding this ball of Tao-defying light, he appeared beside Mu Fengqing and directly injected this ball of Tao-defying light into Mu Fengqing's body. This was originally Mu Fengqing's power, and as he injected it into Mu Fengqing's body, it was equivalent to returning to its original position. In an instant, the Tao-defying law perfectly integrated into Mu Fengqing's body. This is your power, and I have taken it back for you. His entire body was stained with blood as he looked at Mu Fengqing. Mu Fengqing could naturally feel the return of the Tao-defying law, but at this time, he did not care at all. His gaze was fixed on Lin Tian. The blood on Lin Tian's body was so glaring that he could not help but tremble. This was all for him. There were still traces of tears on his face. He opened his mouth, wanted to say something, but he did not know what to say. Boom! Saint energy exploded. In the distance, the illusion sorcerer sect master, who had been sent flying, rushed back again. The saint light around his body seemed to be burning. His gaze fell on Lin Tian, filled with anger and resentment. Damn it, damn it, damn it. That is my Tao-defying law. Give it back! Give it back! As he roared, the thieving heaven saint runes surged out of his body and rushed madly towards Lin Tian. Lin Tian tilted his head and looked at the illusion sorcerer sect master who was rushing towards him. With a slight thought, the samsara sword burst out with a monstrous sword light. The power of reincarnation, the power of destiny, the law of all beginnings, and the Tao-defying law all intertwined together. Die! He said this one word. With a clang, the samsara sword slashed down, carrying the power of reincarnation, destiny, all beginnings, and the Tao-defying law. It enveloped the illusion sorcerer sect master and drowned him. There was a puff, but there was no scream. Under this domineering sword, there was only a glaring mist of blood. The illusion sorcerer sect master was directly destroyed in body and soul. This place instantly became deathly silent. Everyone was stunned. It was as if their souls had been taken away. The illusion sorcerer sect master was dead. He was killed by Lin Tian, who was in the pure sun realm, in one strike. Sect master. After 2 breaths, the second grand elder of the illusion sorcerer sect let out a mournful and unwilling cry. At the same time, the other illusion sorcerer sect cultivators were all shocked. How is this possible? How is this possible? Why is this happening? The illusion sorcerer sect's disciples were all dumbfounded, and their faces turned pale. They were disciples of the illusion sorcerer sect. Their sect master had seized the power of the Tao-defying law from Mu Fengqing and stepped into the 5th dimension, becoming the 6th 5th dimension ancestor monarch of the 5th dimension. Moreover, he was a 5th dimension ancestor monarch who had mastered the Tao-defying law. This caused the illusion sorcerer sect's status to soar in an instant. As disciples of the illusion sorcerer sect, their status naturally rose as well. They could even imagine that because their sect master had mastered the Tao-defying law, his strength would definitely be much stronger than the ancestor monarchs of the 5 top orthodoxies. In the future, their illusion sorcerer sect would definitely become the #1 orthodoxy in the 5th dimension, causing the entire 5th dimension to fear them. At that time, the illusion sorcerer sect's disciples would definitely be revered by all the cultivators in the 5th dimension. No matter where they went, there would be people trying to curry favor with them. How glorious would that be? But now, everything was destroyed. On this day, their sect master, who had stepped into the 5th dimension, had his Tao-defying law snatched away by Lin Tian and was then killed by Lin Tian. Everything was over. Bastard. The second grand elder of the illusion sorcerer sect was enraged. His eyes turned red as he pounced towards Lin Tian like a madman. Lin Tian tilted his head. Wherever his gaze passed, the power of destiny and reincarnation emerged and instantly killed the Grand Elder. At the same time, his body trembled slightly and a large mouthful of blood gushed out of his mouth. Even his vision was blurred. Let's go. He helped move Fengqing up, called back the reincarnation sword, and walked out of the illusion sorcerer sect. He had forcibly unsealed the 5th seal on his soul root, reached the pure sun realm, and then fought the 5th dimension's illusion sorcerer sect master to kill him. At this time, the corrosion caused by the unsealed 5th seal on his soul root had become more and more serious, causing him to be unable to see the scene in front of him clearly. His entire body was filled with pain, and his consciousness was no longer clear. At this moment, his footsteps were somewhat weak as he helped move Fengqing, who was so weak that he couldn't move at all, walk out of the illusion sorcerer sect. Every step he took left a bloody footprint on the ground. In the distance, the sect masters looked at him with fear in their hearts. They felt as if he was a real god. You want to leave just like that? Chapter 2389. The sword beam was ice-cold and emitted a terrifying aura as it slashed toward Lin Tian. The surrounding space instantly froze. This sudden sword strike caused everyone's expression to change. At this moment, Lin Tian's body was covered in blood, and his vision and consciousness were somewhat blurred. However, he was still able to catch sight of the sword. He supported Mu Fengqing and moved several meters away to avoid the attack. You can still avoid it even in such a situation. You're really good. A cold voice rang out as a golden-robed old man walked over from afar. Behind him was a young man. Seeing these two people, the pupils of all the cultivators in the area immediately constricted. Xiang family's ancestor, and the Xiang family's divine son. Someone said in a low voice. Lin Tian's gaze fell on the two people. In an instant, he recognized that the young man was Xiang Yanfeng. Therefore, he naturally knew that the golden-robed old man in front of the young man was the strongest expert of this generation of the Xiang family, the Xiang family's ancestor. I didn't expect that someone would be able to control the legendary reincarnation cycle. The Xiang family's ancestor walked over from afar. His aura was majestic and terrifying. When his gaze fell on Lin Tian, it seemed extremely deep. He had also come to congratulate the sect master of the illusion sorcerer sect for stepping into the fifth-dimensional realm. He had brought along his divine son to congratulate him because the sect master of the illusion sorcerer sect had not only stepped into the fifth-dimensional realm, but also controlled the inverse Tao law. This new ancestor lord's strength had already surpassed his own. In the future, he would definitely be able to develop the illusion sorcerer sect to become extremely powerful, surpassing his Xiang family. Even though he was an ancestor lord of the older generation and had a respected status, such a new ancestor lord was naturally worthy of his congratulations. There was absolutely no harm in building a good relationship with him in the future. However, what he didn't expect was that when he arrived at this place, he would see one shocking scene after another. The sect master of the illusion sorcerer sect, a new ancestor lord of the fifth-dimensional realm, who had mastered the inverse Tao law, had actually been learned by Lin Tian and seized the inverse Tao law. After that, he was killed by Lin Tian in the illusion sorcerer sect. Lin Tian, the person who had killed so many experts of the Xiang family, actually controlled the legendary reincarnation cycle. Xiang Yanfeng looked at Lin Tian with a gloomy expression. His eyes were unsightly. A while ago, he had been defeated by Lin Tian. Originally, he had been thinking about finding Lin Tian another day to get even with him, suppressing Lin Tian and killing Lin Tian. However, he never thought that he would hear one rumor after another about Lin Tian defeating Lu Aoxian, controlling the primordial beginning and the Tao reversers, and easily killing dozens of all creations experts from the Xiang family. This made him realize that the gap between him and Lin Tian was growing wider and wider, which made him very uncomfortable. Then, one day, the ancestor of his bloodline came to congratulate the sect master of the illusion sorcerer divine sect, and he personally witnessed a shocking scene. Lin Tian actually killed the sect master of the illusion sorcerer divine sect, who was at the fifth-dimensional realm, and even controlled the legendary reincarnation cycle. Reincarnation, that was a power that even the supreme beings of the world feared. It was a power that they were unable to control. Some supreme beings were even unwilling to step into the dead dimensional realm, which had the foundation of reincarnation, because of their fear of reincarnation. All of this was enough to show how terrifying reincarnation was, and how terrifying was Lin Tian, who had successfully controlled reincarnation. What kind of person was he? How terrifying was his background to be able to control reincarnation? When he thought about all of this, he could not help but feel a sense of defeat. Compared to Lin Tian, he was like an ant looking up at an eagle soaring in the sky. He would never be able to catch up. This feeling was even more unbearable to him, causing his expression to become extremely ugly. Lin Tian's gaze landed on the ancestor of the Xiang family. He did not even look at Xiang Yanfeng. Blood continuously flowed from his body, controlling reincarnation, killing fifth-dimensional experts using pure yang energy. Since ancient times, no one can compare to you. You can be said to be a real monster. The ancestor of the Xiang family had a deep look in his eyes. Wisps of holy light intertwined around his body as he walked step by step towards Lin Tian. However, in your current state, do you still have the ability to fight against a fifth-dimensional expert? His eyes were deep, and the pressure of a fifth-dimensional expert spread out, sealing off all directions. Lin Tian's body was covered in blood. seeing the ancestor of the Xiong family closing in on him. Holy light intertwined behind him, and his perfect world was propped up. "Go inside and wait for me. I will heal you later," he said to Mu Fengqing. Without giving the other party a chance to speak, he directly sucked the other party into his perfect world. Mu Fengqing's injuries were too severe. Although he had taken back the inverse Tao law for the other party, it would not be of any help to the recovery of Mu Fengqing's injuries. The current Mu Fengqing did not even have the ability to move on his own. He did not even have the ability to heal his injured body. He could only recover under the temporary guidance of external forces. In terms of time, it would take at least a few months. At this time, his condition was not good. Therefore, compared to supporting Mu Fengqing, it was naturally better to suck Mu Fengqing into his perfect world. He put away his perfect world and looked at the ancestor of the Xiong family again. 9 black moons intertwined in his left eye, and reincarnation runes revolved in his right eye. With a thought, the reincarnation sword rumbled once again. Clang! The ear-piercing sword cry shook the 3,000 great cosmoses. The reincarnation sword slashed down, carrying fate, reincarnation, all beginnings, and the inverse Tao. The sword momentum was extremely domineering as it pressed down on the ancestor of the Xiong family. However, although the power of this sword was still domineering, it was far from being comparable to the previous sword. The difference between heaven and earth was like heaven and earth. This sword slash even caused his body to tremble violently. Another mouthful of blood gushed out of his mouth. His vision and consciousness became even more blurred. After slashing down with his sword, he did not hesitate. He put the reincarnation sword into his body and rushed out of the illusion sorcerer sect. If he was in his perfect state, it would not be difficult for him to kill a 5th-dimensional ancestor with his current cultivation base and the soul root that had unsealed 5 seals. However, he wasn't in his best condition right now. In other words, he was in a very bad state right now. The soul root that had forcibly unsealed the 5 seals was too powerful, and it was constantly eroding his body. His body felt as if it was constantly being cut by countless poisonous sharp blades, and the pain was completely penetrating his soul and bones. At this moment, blood flowed out of his body continuously. He felt that he could lose consciousness and faint at any time. It was impossible for him to fight a 5th-dimensional ancestor. At this moment, escaping was his only choice. He came here alone and won the bet against the sect master of the illusion sorcerer sect. After killing the sect master, he was still conscious. However, he did not expect that the ancestor of the Xiong family, a 5th-dimensional ancestor, would come to congratulate him. So, the sound of something breaking through the air resounded. In the blink of an eye, he had rushed far away. His speed was astonishing, and he disappeared into the horizon. The ancestor of the Xiong family activated his 5th-dimensional divine energy and shattered Lin Tian's sword with a slap. He coldly looked at the direction in which Lin Tian had escaped. "You think you can escape in this state? Did my Xiong family's sons bleed for nothing?" His eyes and voice were indifferent. He asked Xiong Yin to seal him and return to the Xiong family. Then, he chased after Lin Tian. In the blink of an eye, he chased after Lin Tian and stepped out of the illusion sorcerer sect. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared from everyone's sight. In the illusion sorcerer sect, all the sect leaders were stunned. None of them expected that the 5th-dimensional ancestor of the Xiong family would suddenly appear after Lin Tian had killed the sect master of the illusion sorcerer sect. In his current state, "I'm afraid." Someone whispered, "I think it's over." Someone else spoke. From the previous scene, all the sect leaders knew that Lin Tian was very strong. He was so strong that he did not seem human. However, after killing the sect master of the illusion sorcerer sect, they could naturally sense that Lin Tian was in a state where he could collapse and lose consciousness at any time. His aura was extremely weak. How could he block the 5th-dimensional ancestor in such a state? For a moment, all the sect leaders were in a daze as they looked at the direction in which Lin Tian and the ancestor of the Xiong family had disappeared. They really wanted to chase after them and see how this matter would develop. However, with their current cultivations, their current speed could not compare to Lin Tian, who was in an extremely bad state, and it was even more impossible for them to compare to the Xiong clan's ancestor, who was in a perfect state. Sect leader, sect leader. All the disciples of the illusion sorcerer sect were in a daze. Their faces were pale, and they did not have the time to care about Lin Tian and the ancestor of the Xiong family. On this day, all the sect leaders had come to congratulate them. It was supposed to be a glorious day for the illusion sorcerer sect, but now it had fallen to such a state. Their sect master was dead, 5 grand elders were dead, and a group of ordinary elders were also killed. Their underground foundation was also destroyed. Their huge illusion sorcerer divine sect now existed in name only. Lin Tian left the illusion sorcerer sect at an extremely fast speed. He had already traveled a long distance. The space around him was constantly moving, and the air was sizzling. There was blood dripping in the air. Clang! The sound of a sword rang out, and the sword slashed behind him at an astonishing speed. The ancestor of the Xiong family caught up with him, his eyes cold. Lin Tian moved to the side and dodged the sword. He coldly glanced at his opponent and continued to flee without hesitation. In his current state, it was definitely not a wise choice to face his opponent head-on. Now only by fleeing could he have a chance to survive. With a whoosh, he moved far away again in the blink of an eye, using the samsara steps to move 10,000 miles in a single step. The ancestor of the Xiong family chased after him, his eyes narrowing. Lin Tian was clearly only in the pure sun realm, and his condition was extremely bad. His aura was weak and chaotic, but his speed was still so fast. He was definitely not inferior to the average ancestor of the 5th dimension. Monster! He said these 2 words, and his eyes gradually turned dark. Then he increased his speed. You are very valuable. He knew that Lin Tiansha had killed a direct descendant of the Xiong family, Xiong Qingyi, and hundreds of thousands of Xiong family experts. Lin Tian was already on the Xiong family's must-kill list. However, before this, he only wanted to kill Lin Tian. Now that he knew that Lin Tian controlled the samsara steps and saw that Lin Tian had learned the plundering heaven secret technique, he had other ideas. He would first suppress Lin Tian and forcibly find out how to cultivate the plundering heaven secret technique from Lin Tian. Then, he would use the plundering heaven secret technique to steal Lin Tian's law of all beginnings, Tao reversal law, fate law, and the most powerful and terrifying samsara steps. I will be invincible in all heavens. Chapter 2390. As he thought about the stealing heaven's secret technique that Lin Tian had learned from the illusionary sorcerer sect master, as well as the law of reincarnation, the law of destiny, the law of all beginnings, and the inverse law, his eyes shone brightly. As long as he could suppress Lin Tian, he would be able to obtain all of this. In the future, he would definitely be invincible. Clang! The Xiong family's ancestor made another move. Another streak of sword radiance slashed towards Lin Tian. The void was immediately destroyed. Lin Tian tilted his body and dodged the sword radiance. He endured the pain all over his body. Blood splattered in the air as he continued to flee. His soul root, which had been forcefully unsealed by 5 layers of seals, was eroding more and more of his energy. His injuries were worsening, and his vision and consciousness were becoming more and more blurry. He wasn't in a good condition to fight head-on. Whoosh! With an air-piercing sound, he stepped far away in the blink of an eye. He used the reincarnation steps, and his speed was even faster than before. Furthermore, he used his Eye of Destiny's teleportation ability again, and instantly left the Xiong family's ancestor far behind. The Xiong family's ancestor's eyes were deep. He snorted coldly and increased his speed to chase after Lin Tian. As Lin Tian was severely injured, he quickly caught up with Lin Tian again. With a clang, tens of thousands of streaks of sword radiance slashed towards Lin Tian. They were densely packed together. Lin Tian dodged sideways, leaving behind afterimages in the air. However, he was still pierced by one of the streaks of sword radiance, and a bloody hole appeared in his chest. He clutched his chest. At this moment, he couldn't even repair the bloody hole because of the corrosion caused by forcefully unsealing his soul root. He glanced coldly at the Xiong family's ancestor before fleeing into the distance once again. You're struggling before your death. With your current condition, if you can escape from this old man's hands, this old man will stretch out his neck and commit suicide. The Xiong family's ancestor said coldly. As he finished speaking, more streaks of sword radiance slashed across the sky. They pierced through the void and closed in on Lin Tian in the blink of an eye. Lin Tian gritted his teeth. His eye of destiny trembled slightly again, and he used his teleportation ability. He traversed a great distance and dodged the streaks of sword radiance. After that, he didn't stop and continued to fly. The Xiong family's ancestor naturally stepped forward. Moreover, he increased his speed slightly. One step took him endlessly far away. As the two of them chased after each other, numerous immortal mountains were left behind, and they were naturally seen by many cultivators. That's the person who came from the four-dimensional world. His injury? Also, behind him is Xiong clan's old ancestor. Fifth-dimensional ancestor. When the cultivators from the fifth dimension saw the Xiong clan's ancestor chasing after Lin Tian, they were all shocked. After that, as the Xiong family's patriarch chased after Lin Tian, the two of them crossed many territories and were seen by even more cultivators. The Xiong clan's ancestor and Lin Tian naturally didn't care about this. One flew at top speed while the other pursued at top speed. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. Clang! The Xiong clan's ancestor raised his hand, and hundreds of thousands of sword rays pressed down on Lin Tian. Moreover, all kinds of great techniques were used. Looking at Lin Tian in front of him, the expression of this fifth-dimensional realm ancestor turned somewhat gloomy. He was an ancestor of the fifth-dimensional realm, but he had been chasing after a heavily injured Pure Sun Realm Jr. for 3 whole days and still hadn't been able to capture him. Let's see how long you can run. His voice was cold. As soon as he finished speaking, another wave of sacred light pressed down on Lin Tian. Lin Tian's body was covered in blood. During the 3 days of fleeing, he was continuously injured by the Xiong clan's ancestor dozens of times. There were more than 10 transparent sword holes on his body, and blood kept flowing out. More importantly, the soul root's corrosion on him was still intensifying. His consciousness was becoming more and more blurry, and his vision was almost unable to see clearly. Waves of dizziness came from his head. His Rinnegan and Eye of Destiny were no longer able to support him. He could only use the Samsara steps to barely dodge the sword rays. However, he was still hit by the sacred light. Large mouthfuls of blood gushed out of his mouth, and his face became extremely pale. Then, he continued to fly, leaving a trail of blood behind him. In the blink of an eye, another 2 hours had passed. His aura and speed had weakened to the point that it was difficult for him to even fly. A pure sun stage cultivator who can still escape from me while seriously injured. You could be called the #1 person in the world. The Xiong clan's ancestor's voice was cold. However, this is the end of it. As soon as he finished speaking, he raised his hand. Endless sacred light intertwined into a huge sacred light palm, which pressed down on Lin Tian mightily. His eyes were shining brightly, and there was a trace of greed and excitement in them. Now he could feel that Lin Tian definitely couldn't dodge this attack. He had no strength to dodge or escape. After suppressing Lin Tian, he would soon obtain everything. The boundless sacred light palm pressed down on Lin Tian in the blink of an eye. However, at this moment, 2 sword rays suddenly appeared. They came from the north and the southeast, one from the front and the other from the back. The 2 sword rays were swift and fierce. They were intertwined with the pressure of the fifth-dimensional realm. In the blink of an eye, they arrived in front of the Xiong clan's ancestor. The Xiong clan's ancestor's expression changed. The 2 sword rays were too swift and fierce, so he had no choice but to withdraw his attack on Lin Tian and retreat. At the same time, a blue-clothed woman rushed over from the north. A purple-clothed woman rushed over from the southeast, and appeared in front of Lin Tian in the blink of an eye. Lin Tian, the blue-clothed woman, had a beautiful face and a graceful figure. She was very beautiful. At this moment, she looked at Lin Tian and supported the extremely weak Lin Tian. Her eyes were filled with worry. The purple-clothed woman was even more beautiful. She supported Lin Tian from the other side. Like the blue-clothed woman, she also looked worried. Soon after, two old men appeared in each direction. They all had the aura of the fifth-dimensional realm intertwined with each other. Brother Yu, Brother Duan, what is the meaning of this? The Xiong clan's ancestor glanced at the blue-clothed woman and the purple-clothed woman. His gaze fell on the two old men, and his eyes narrowed slightly. Brother Xiong, you are a fifth-dimensional realm ancestor. It doesn't seem right for you to bully a junior like this. One of the two old men spoke up. Lin Tian's entire body was covered in blood. His vision was blurred, but at this moment, he could clearly see the two people supporting him. Yaoshi, he said to the blue-clothed woman. Then, he looked at the purple-clothed woman beside him. He was a little surprised. After pausing for a moment, he said in a weak voice, "You changed your clothes?" The blue-clothed woman was the first friend he made in the fifth dimension. She was the holy maiden of the Yu family, Yu Yaoshi. The purple-clothed woman was the holy maiden of the shrine of all beginnings, Lu Aoxian. Previously, she was wearing red clothes, but now, she was wearing purple clothes. This is a little more humble than red. Hearing Lin Tian's words, Lu Aoxian's cheeks reddened slightly. Then, she looked at the Xiong clan's ancestor not far away and said to Lin Tiandao, "I've asked my master to come. You will be fine." On the other side, Yu Yaoshi also said, "My grandfather is here. Don't worry, that person from the Xiong clan won't be able to hurt you anymore." Over the past 3 days, the Xiong clan's ancestor had been chasing Lin Tian all the way across one territory after another. Many cultivators had witnessed this, so naturally, news of this spread. It didn't take long for it to reach Yu Yaoshi and Lu Ao Xian's ears. The two women immediately requested for the ancestor of their branch to come out of seclusion. After following many clues, they finally found Lin Tian. Lin Tian was supported by the two women on his left and right. He raised his head with great difficulty and looked at the two old men not far away. He could still feel the fifth-dimensional aura from them, so it was not difficult to guess that they were the ancestors of the divine palace of all beginnings and the Yu family of this generation. Thank you. After saying these two words, he finally couldn't hold on any longer. His consciousness sank into endless darkness, and he fainted. The soul root that had been forcefully unsealed had continuously corroded him. Furthermore, he was being chased by the Xiong clan's ancestor, a fifth-dimensional realm ancestor. He had suffered heavy injuries continuously. The only reason he could hold on until now was because of his unyielding willpower. But now, seeing that Yu Yaoshi and Lu Aoxian had asked for the help of their respective fifth-dimensional realm ancestors, he was finally able to relax. His tense nerves finally calmed down, and he naturally lost consciousness and fainted. Yu Yaoshi and Lu Aoxian were anxious. However, after discovering that Lin Tianji had fainted, they somewhat relaxed. Even so, the two women were still very worried. Lin Tian's injuries were too heavy. The Yu family's ancestor and the ancestor of all beginnings glanced at Lin Tian before looking at the Xiong clan's ancestor at the same time. "Brother Xiong, please return now. What do you think?" The Yu family's ancestor said with a smile. The Xiong clan's ancestor's face darkened. "Dozens of my Xiong clan's descendants died at his hands. It's perfectly reasonable for me to kill him. Brother Yu, you're protecting him and preventing me from avenging my descendants. Isn't that a little unreasonable? Brother Xiong, according to what we know, the deaths of the dozens of Yus from your clan were all caused by the provocation of this little brother. Your clan doesn't seem to be in the right at all," the myriad beginning ancestor said with a smile. As he spoke, the ancestor of all beginnings spoke again. "Brother Xiong, I'm afraid that the reason you're pursuing this little brother personally isn't because of the deaths of your clan's descendants. The main reason is that you're concerned about this little brother's reincarnation, right? 3 days had passed since Lin Tian revealed his reincarnation at the Illusion Sorcerer sect. This matter had naturally spread throughout the entire fifth-dimensional realm. By now, almost every cultivator in the vast fifth-dimensional realm knew that Lin Tian controlled reincarnation. The Xiang clan's ancestor's face darkened. He looked at the Yu family's ancestor and said coldly, "No matter what, the blood of my clan's descendants cannot be spilled in vain. This seat will absolutely not let this vicious and merciless little bastard off. I must bring him back to the clan and kill him. His blood will be used as a sacrifice to the souls of my clan's descendants who were cruelly killed by him." His fifth-dimensional aura surged around his body, majestic and mighty. "Brother Xiang, let's just forget about it. Do you think you can take him away from the two of us by yourself?" The Yu family's ancestor laughed. "Let's go back, Brother Xiang. You won't be able to take him away today." The ancestor of all beginnings spoke. Chapter 2391. When the Xiang family ancestor heard the words of the Yu family ancestor and all-beginning ancestor, his face sank. "Brother Yu, Brother Duan, are the two of you determined to become enemies with my Xiang families?" The Yu family ancestor's surname was Yu, while the all-beginning ancestor's surname was Duan. Looking at the two of them, the Xiang family ancestor's voice turned cold. He never expected that the two of them would jump out when Lin Tian was about to be suppressed. The Yu family ancestor smiled. "Brother Xiang, your words are a little too serious. This little brother has protected this old man's great-granddaughter several times. How can this old man watch as you take him away and kill him? This little brother is also indebted to this old man's disciple. Naturally, I will protect her. It's not considered becoming enemies with your Xiang family," the all-beginning ancestor said. The Xiang family ancestor's face turned even darker. He looked coldly at the Yu family ancestor and all-beginning ancestor. "This old man will remember today's matter." He looked at the Yu family ancestor and all-beginning ancestor. After a few breaths, he looked at Lin Tian unwillingly and turned to leave. The Yu family ancestor and all-beginning ancestor were both in the fifth-dimensional realm. Neither of them was weaker than him. Now that he was facing the two of them together, and both of them wanted to protect Lin Tian, he had used up a lot of sane energy to chase after Lin Tian. If he really fought, he wouldn't have the slightest advantage. Therefore, he could only choose to abandon Lin Tian and retreat. His speed was very fast. In the blink of an eye, he was already far away, disappearing into the distance. Yu Yaoshi and Lu Aoxian supported Lin Tian on both sides. Although it was expected that the Xiang family ancestor would leave unwillingly, they still heaved a sigh of relief. Then, the two girls looked at Lin Tian again. At this moment, Lin Tian's body was covered in blood, and he had completely fainted. "Miss Lu, thank you and Senior Duan for coming so far to help. I will bring him to the Yu family to treat his injuries," Yu Yaoshi said to Lu Aoxian. As she spoke, she tried to pull Lin Tian to her side. However, she couldn't pull him over. "There's no need to trouble Miss Yaoshi. The Divine Palace of All Beginnings is quite close to here. It's better for him to go there and treat his injuries," Lu Aoxian said and pulled Lin Tian to his side. For a moment, the two women looked at each other. One pulled Lin Tian to the left, and the other pulled Lin Tian to the right. Yu Yaoshi chuckled. "We're good friends, so it's more appropriate for me to take care of him. He taught me the essentials of the law of all beginnings. He can be considered half a master. It's more appropriate for me to take care of him," Lu Aoxian said. Of the two women, one was dressed in blue, while the other was dressed in purple. One was the number 2 pearl of the fifth dimension, while the other was the number 1 pearl of the fifth dimension. Both of them had stunning figures. At this moment, they were looking at each other and pulling Lin Tian to the left and right. The old ancestor of the Yu family and all-beginning ancestor looked at each other and couldn't help but feel a little awkward. The old ancestor of the Yu family coughed dryly. "Don't argue. He's injured quite badly. It's not the time for you to argue. Let's just find a suitable place nearby. Oh, the two of you could take care of him together," the old ancestor of the all-beginning ancestor said. At a time like this, it was a pretty good idea. Immediately, Yu Yaoshi and Lu Aoxian supported Lin Tian while the old ancestor of the Yu family and all-beginning ancestor stood guard at the side. Before long, they found a relatively quiet valley in a nearby immortal mountain. The saint's spiritual qi inside was relatively dense. This old man and Brother Duan will treat him first, the old ancestor of the Yu family said. The old ancestor of the Yu family was about to help Lin Tian with the old ancestor of the all-beginning ancestor because Lin Tian's injuries were extremely serious. However, in the next moment, the old ancestor of the Yu family suddenly stopped talking. They discovered that Lin Tian's injuries were actually healing on their own. Moreover, the speed of recovery was extremely shocking. The blood that was gushing out of his body stopped flowing at an extremely fast speed. The dozens of holes left by the old ancestor of the Xiang family were healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. The old ancestor of the all-beginning ancestor also noticed this. Just like the old ancestor of the Yu family, his expression changed slightly. This is really, Lin Tian had clearly lost consciousness and was in a coma. However, the injuries that were so close to death were actually healing at such a shocking speed. It was as if there was a supreme being of the heavens and earth hiding in the dark healing him. This caused the old ancestor of the Yu family to be stunned. Just what kind of mysterious and terrifying body was this? Yu Yaoshi and Lu Aoxian were also shocked. However, they soon forgot about it and became incomparably relaxed. Lin Tian's injuries were healing at such a fast speed. He was no longer in any danger. This was the best thing that could happen right now. Master, in his current state, how long will it take for him to fully recover? How long will it take for him to wake up? Lu Aoxian asked the old ancestor of the all-beginning ancestor. The old ancestor of the all-beginning ancestor sighed. In the past, you were a proud little swan who didn't care about anyone. Now, for the sake of a little man, you switched to your favorite hongi and forcefully dragged me out of seclusion. Now that he's safe, you're only concerned about when he can fully recover. You didn't even ask if it would affect your master to forcefully come out of seclusion. Lu Aoxian's face immediately turned red. She was embarrassed and asked softly, "Then, Master, are you all right?" Her beauty shocked the entire fifth dimension. She was known as the #1 pearl of the fifth dimension. At the same time, her strength was also unparalleled. She had mastered the law of all beginnings. Among the younger generation of the 5 top orthodoxies, she was the absolute #1. However, in the ancestral Lord Sea domain, Lin Tian learned the law of all beginnings from her in just 2 hours and defeated her easily. That day, she felt anger, humiliation, and unwillingness. With her potential and the experience left behind by the all-beginning ancestor, she was finally able to control the law of all beginnings after more than 10 years of seclusion, becoming the second person after the all-beginning ancestor. That was her pride. However, Lin Tian learned the law of all beginnings in just 2 hours. Moreover, he did it after watching her use the law of all beginnings. In the blink of an eye, he surpassed her in the law of all beginnings, completely destroying her pride. That day, she thought that Lin Tian would kill her. However, Lin Tian didn't. Instead, he taught her a higher level of the law of all beginnings. It was countless times better than the experience left behind by the all-beginning ancestor. Then, he told her not to be too proud, not to look down on others, and to treat others peacefully. Since she was young, everyone felt that she had the right to be proud. Even her master was no exception. She had never said anything about this. Lin Tian was the first person to tell her not to be too proud. Moreover, he wasn't mocking her. Instead, he seemed to be teaching her some principles of life. On that day, she developed a special feeling for men for the first time. It was a strange feeling. After returning to the divine palace of all beginnings, she changed out of her favorite red clothes and into purple clothes. She used to think that red was bright and dazzling. After that day, she felt that red was too arrogant, so she changed to purple. You can still feel shy? My old bones were worth it. It was worth it to lose some vitality. It was completely worth it. Ancestor of all beginnings couldn't help but laugh. Lu Aoxian's face turned even redder. She raised her voice. "Master, ancestor of all beginnings, coughed dryly. It was clear that he doted on his disciple. Don't worry. His injuries are recovering on their own. He'll recover in 3 days at most. Then he'll wake up in about half a month. This fifth-dimensional ancestor, lord of the all-beginning bloodline, had a very good impression of Lin Tian. Before coming here, he had heard from Lu Aoxian that Lin Tian had taught her the essentials of the all-beginning bloodline. This could be considered a great favor. Lu Aoxian felt even more relieved after hearing ancestor of all beginnings' words. Yu Yaoshi also felt more at ease after hearing ancestor of all beginnings' words. Lin Tian was gently placed on a large rock. The two women stood guard on his left and right, staring at Lin Tian without blinking. They're like two wives guarding their husband. Ancestor of all beginnings whispered. His gaze also fell on Lin Tian. His gaze turned deep. Reincarnation, to think that such a law, it's hard to imagine. Ancestor, you stood beside ancestor of all beginnings. His gaze also fell on Lin Tian, unable to conceal the shock in his eyes. Fifth dimension. In the cultivation world, news of Lin Tian killing illusion sorcery, sect master, and controlling reincarnation had already spread from illusion sorcery sect. To think that that's a power that even the supreme beings of the world fear, a power that they can't control. Yet how did he do it? Countless cultivators were so shocked that they even forgot about the fact that Lin Tian had killed the illusion sorcery sect master of the fifth dimension. It was truly that samsara, this level of law, impacted people's minds too much. Speaking of which, there seems to be a record in the ancient history of some of the sovereigns of heaven and earth who said that not only is reincarnation difficult to comprehend, it is also impossible to completely control it. An incomplete reincarnation doesn't seem to be very frightening. Compared to the laws of the fifth and sixth dimensions, an incomplete reincarnation doesn't have any advantages. That Lin Tian might be able to control reincarnation, but he might not be able to completely control it. That's actually not that frightening, right? Someone put forward such a suggestion. That's true, but who can control reincarnation? During the ancient times, countless years ago, countless terrifying almighty figures had attempted to take control of reincarnation, but without exception, all of them had died miserably. Just this alone is sufficient to show how terrifying he is since he was able to take control of reincarnation. It's absolutely not going too far to call him the #1 person in history. That's right. Even if he can't control the complete reincarnation, he's already in control of the Rinnegan. It's said that the Rinnegan has many frightening abilities. It's definitely unparalleled in battle and can greatly increase one's battle strength. No matter what, that person is frightening. Then perhaps he can't be considered a human anymore? How can a human do what he did? The entire fifth dimension was in an uproar again. Every cultivator in this world was shocked by Lin Tian. Inside an immortal mountain, Yu Yaoshi and Lu Aoxian were guarding Lin Tian. The Yu family ancestor and all-beginning ancestor stood quietly to the side. 3 days passed, and Lin Tian's injuries healed on their own. In the blink of an eye, another 10 days passed. Chapter 2392. Lin Tian. Lin Tian. After half a month, Lin Tian finally regained consciousness. Yu Yaoshi and Lu Aoxian were overjoyed, and they called out in unison. Lin Tian sat up on the boulder. Looking at Yu Yaoshi and Lu Aoxian, he immediately recalled what happened before he fainted. Then, looking at Yu Yaoshi and Lu Aoxian on his left and right, he knew that the two of them had been watching over him while he was unconscious. Thank you. He smiled, but his tone was serious. Yu Yaoshi said, "We're friends, so there's no need to thank me. You've saved my life several times already." Lu Aoxian also spoke, "You've already taught me the principles of all beginnings. We're not outsiders." Hearing this, Yu Yaoshi immediately turned to look at her. "We're not outsiders? Why does that sound so strange?" Lin Tian didn't think too much about it, and he continued to smile. "You haven't even married into my family yet, and you're already saying that we're not outsiders." The ancestor of all beginnings' voice sounded from the side, teasing his disciple. Master! Lu Aoxian's face turned red. The ancestor of all beginnings let out a dry cough, then looked at Lin Tian and said, "Little brother, it's good that you're awake." The ancestor of the Yu family walked over at this moment, and his gaze fell on Lin Tian. He also smiled and spoke calmly. Lin Tian hurriedly walked down from the boulder and bowed slightly to the two. "Thank you for coming to help me, seniors." Although the ancestor of all beginnings and Yu family had come to help him because of Yu Yaoshi and Lu Aoxian, they were still there to help him. If it weren't for them, he might have really died in the hands of the Xiong family's ancestor. This was a huge favor. "Little brother, you're too courteous. During the battle at the ancestral Lord Sea domain, not only did you show mercy to my disciple, you even taught me the principles of the law of all beginnings. This is a huge favor to both Aoxian and the divine palace of all beginnings. Now that you're in trouble, it's only natural for me to come and help you. Little brother, you don't need to take it to heart." Myriad beginning ancestor smiled. He was not being polite. Instead, he was speaking the truth. Lu Aoxian was a rare genius of the divine palace of all beginnings. She was even comparable to the primogenitor of all beginnings. The entire divine palace of all beginnings had high hopes for Lu Aoxian. Back then, they were enemies, but Lin Tian showed mercy to Lu Aoxian. He even taught her the essence of the law of all beginnings. That was countless times more shocking than the experience left behind by primogenitor of all beginnings. To Lu Aoxian, it was a great opportunity. It was enough for Lu Aoxian to go far in the future. If Lu Aoxian became stronger, it meant that the divine palace of all beginnings would become stronger as well. Because of this, the all-beginning ancestor had a good impression of Lin Tian. Even though he was dragged out of seclusion by Lu Aoxian to help Lin Tian solve her problem, he didn't feel any regret. "My granddaughter is also indebted to you for saving her many times. It is my duty to help you." The old ancestor of the Yu family spoke. These two ancestor emperors of the fifth dimension realm were very polite to Lin Tian. "That is that. I still have to thank the two seniors. Lin Tian will remember your kindness forever." Lin Tian smiled and bowed to the two ancestor emperors again. The smiles on the faces of the all-beginning ancestor and the Yu family ancestor became even wider. With Lin Tian's current strength and achievements, he was able to kill the sect master of the illusion sorcerer sect. It was enough to show that he was not any weaker than them. In fact, he was much stronger than them. However, he was so humble and always treated them as if they were juniors. In the cultivation world where the strong were respected, this was very rare. Good. Very good. Good young man." The all-beginning ancestor laughed and patted Lin Tian's shoulder. This kind of young man was very likable. The Yu family ancestor also smiled. He liked Lin Tian more and more. Lin Tian, the two ancestor emperors, Yu Yaoshi and Lu Aoxian, stayed in this immortal mountain. They chatted a lot. "Speaking of which, you are really scary. Not only did you learn the all-beginning ancestor, the Tao reversal, and the heaven-stealing secret art in the blink of an eye, you even managed to control reincarnation. This is truly terrifying, causing these old bones of mine to be truly horrified." The all-beginning ancestor said. The Yu family ancestor nodded and said simply, "Very scary." Yu Yaoshi and Lu Aoxian looked at Lin Tian. Previously, they were only worried about Lin Tian's injuries and didn't pay attention to the rumor of Lin Tian controlling reincarnation. But now, Lin Tian had recovered from his injuries and woke up. After hearing the all-beginning ancestor and Yu family ancestor talking about this matter, they looked at Lin Tian again. Their beautiful eyes couldn't help but light up with shock. Reincarnation. In the legends, even the supreme beings of the heavens and earth admitted that they were unable to control this power. It was a power that they feared. In the past, countless ancient experts had died because they tried to touch this power. Countless ancient experts were unwilling to step into the fourth dimension just because the foundation of reincarnation existed in the fourth dimension. They were all very afraid of the laws of reincarnation. However, Lin Tian was able to control this power and even opened the Rinnegan. This was too shocking. I barely managed to control it after a narrow escape. Lin Tian was very humble. It's very difficult to comprehend it now. Reincarnation is different from other laws. A complete reincarnation is said to be invincible. All other powers are weak in front of a complete reincarnation. Therefore, it's natural that it's very difficult to comprehend it. The Yu family ancestor said. That's right. The all-beginning ancestor nodded. Old antiques like them might not be able to control reincarnation, but they knew a lot about it. In other words, all the cultivators in the fifth dimension were very clear about the Tao of reincarnation. This was because, in the past, many ancient almighty experts had died miserably because they had tried to be contaminated by the Tao of reincarnation. Therefore, in the world of cultivators in the fifth dimension, the Tao of reincarnation was especially recorded in ancient books. This word was a terrifying legend. Lin Tian chuckled. In this immortal mountain, he chatted with the Yu family ancestor and all-beginning ancestor for a long time. In the blink of an eye, 2 days passed. Little brother, since you're fine now, why don't you come to my clan as a guest? The Yu family ancestor smiled at Lin Tian Dao. This place is relatively close to my all-beginning divine palace. Little brother, you should come to my all-beginning divine palace to rest. Of course, brother Yu and your family's Mingzhu can come along. This old man welcomes you. The all-beginning ancestor smiled. Then, Yu Yaoshi and Lu Aoxian looked at Lin Tian without blinking, their eyes shining brightly. Lin Tian felt a little awkward. He paused for a moment, then bowed to the Yu family ancestor and all-beginning ancestor. Thank you for your hospitality, seniors. However, this junior has other things to do, so I won't disturb you for now. I'll definitely pay a visit in the future. At this time, he was preparing to bring Mu Fengqing to the immortal court branch he'd established in the fifth dimension to treat his injuries. There were also some natural treasures, immortal pills, divine medicines, and myriad artifacts. He was going to give them to Mu Wenyang and the others to increase their strength. Moreover, he was going to let Mu Wenyang and the others bring a portion of them back to the fourth dimension to Wu Yi and the others. Hearing this, the Yu family ancestor and all-beginning ancestor didn't insist. Then it's settled. When little brother is free, you must come and take a look. This old man will be waiting for you. Same here. The doors of the Yu family are always open to you. The all-beginning ancestor and Yu family ancestor said one after another. Thank you, seniors. Lin Tian smiled. At the side, Yu Yaoshi and Lu Aoxian looked a little disappointed. Lin Tian noticed this. He paused for a moment, then asked Yu Yaoshi about that matter with Yu Fengyin. Yu Fengyin had tried to assassinate Yu Yaoshi and replace her position as the Holy Maiden, which might have caused internal strife in the family. Now that he saw Yu Yaoshi, he couldn't help but ask. Yes, we've already investigated it thoroughly. It's fine. It was done by Sister Yin alone. It has nothing to do with Uncle and the others. Uncle and the others don't know about it. Seeing that Lin Tian still remembered this matter and asked her about it, Yu Yaoshi was a little happy. She said, I'll leave Sister Yin to Uncle. She'll be locked up for a period of time. It won't affect the family at all. That's good, Lin Tian said with a smile. In truth, he was rather impressed with Yu Yaoshi. Despite being assassinated by Yu Fengyin time and time again, she still addressed Yu Fengyin as Big Sis Yin. The way she addressed Yu Fengyin was so natural, as though she didn't care about the fact that she was being assassinated. He paused for a moment, then looked at Lu Aoxian and said with a smile, You look better in purple than in red. Lu Aoxian was a little disappointed when Lin Tian asked Yu Yaoshi. However, when she heard Lin Tian's words, her disappointment disappeared, and her cheeks flushed red. Really? Really? Lin Tian said with a smile. He wasn't trying to flatter her. From his personal point of view, he really did think that Lu Aoxian looked better in purple. Then I'll wear purple in the future, Lu Aoxian said, and she became even happier. Lin Tian couldn't help but feel a little embarrassed when he heard this. The all-beginning ancestor shook his head. Master. Lu Aoxian glared at him, and the all-beginning ancestor immediately stopped his tsk and stopped making fun of Lu Aoxian. Lin Tian felt embarrassed again. After that, He had a few more words with the Yu family ancestor, all beginning ancestor, Yu Yaoshi and Lu Aoxian. Then, he bid farewell to the four of them and watched them leave. Only then did he leave. After leaving the Immortal Mountain, his speed was very fast. After a few days, he finally arrived at the ancient planet where the branch of the Immortal Court was located. The reason why it took him several days to arrive at this ancient planet with his current cultivation was because the fifth dimension was formed by a central great world and countless huge stars. The place where he was before was simply too far away from this star. He didn't stop when he arrived at this place. He directly stepped into the ancient planet and soon arrived at the branch of the Immortal Court. The Immortal Court was extremely quiet. He scanned it with his divine sense and found that Mu Wenyang and the others were all in seclusion. It seemed like they had entered seclusion right after he left in order to increase their strength and take revenge on the Golden Mark Immortal Sect. I'm back. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.